Muy feliz lunes a todos ustedes. Espero que estén teniendo un excelente inicio de su semana. Bienvenidos al Casino del Tío Salvo. Por supuesto que vamos a ver todas las acciones, precios de cripto, todo como siempre lo hacemos acá por varias horas. Pero antes de eso, como siempre, quiero platicar con ustedes de varias cosas. ¿Qué fin de semana tan lleno de acontecimientos estúpidos tuvimos en todos lados, no? Impresionante. Para empezar, en Estados Unidos, puta, hay unas inundaciones en Texas que ya se cargaron a 80 personas. Eso quiere decir, 80 personas han muerto en estas inundaciones. Está cabrón en Texas. No sé exactamente por qué lo llaman un flash flood, pero no tiene tanto sentido, pero bueno, es lo que es. Y pues un fuerte abrazo a toda la gente que vive en Texas, porque es duro el clima por allá, es bastante duro y no te perdona una. Traigo varios temillas que quería platicar con ustedes el día de hoy. Uno, continuamos todo perfecto con nuestro plan para adelante. Ahorita están sacando noticias están empezando a calentar a todo el mundo. Están empezando a decir, no van a caer el precio de las casas, no va a haber recesión este año. Y me lo han estado también mandando en todos lados, en X, en Instagram, etcétera. Es bueno, eso va de acuerdo a mi teoría, porque lo que están haciendo es calentando a todo el mundo en la cabeza. Pero más allá de eso, yo creo que a todos nos han estado inundando la cabeza de pendejadas, damas y caballeros, y se las voy a dar rápido y fácil. Uno, en Estados Unidos, Jeffrey Epstein, todos ustedes lo saben, el güey que era el traficador de menores más grande de todo el mundo, que se suicidó, entre comillas, resulta que sí se suicidó y que no tiene ningún cliente. Ahora, ¿esto por qué lo hacen? Lo que están haciéndole a la gente literalmente es destruyendo su espíritu y hacerlos entender que valen verga. Eso es básicamente lo que están haciendo con este tipo de cosas y es lo que te hacen en tu país también con este tipo de noticias. Cuando sale una noticia de algo que debería de importar, pero no importa, ¿no? Porque no dirían tráfico humano, no se les hace algo importante. Y es algo que vemos todo el tiempo y sabemos perfectamente que Estados Unidos es el rey y aparte lo hace a través de México con esas gran fronteras. Así que en este momento también otra cosa que está pasando es nos están poniendo unos en contra de otros. No solo ayer, México contra Estados Unidos fue un partido de fútbol honestamente estuvo buena remontada de la selección mexicana y ahora no sé nada de quién es quién y si están jugando los buenos o no tengo ni puta idea, así que no me voy a meter en eso. Pero buen partido entretenido, ¿no? No es como cuando ves el fútbol europeo que es de verga, güey. Pero estuvo divertido, la pasé bien. Pero más allá de ponernos en contra en México, Estados Unidos, en estos partidos que no son amistosos, era la final de alguna copa, no sé cuál, también están haciéndolo en todos lados. No sé si se dieron cuenta en Estados Unidos con lo de las protestas de los inmigrantes que resultaron todos ser mexicanos convenientemente y la narrativa también. Y ahora en México los están haciendo ustedes, los están poniendo sobre lo mismo, básicamente, que es los mexicanos contra los gringos a través del tema de la gentrificación. Y tengo que decir esto. De la manera en la que yo veo todo es, si South Park ya se burló de algo que sigue pasando, sé perfectamente que es puro palo. ¿Por qué? Porque ¿qué tiene de validez dar tu opinión sobre algo que no tiene solución, que ha pasado años y años y años y años antes y lo único que hace es alborotar a todo el mundo y ponerlos como locos? ¿Alguien no entiende eso? El episodio de South Park que estoy hablando salió, y es más, ¿saben qué? Se los voy a compartir acá para que lo vean. Lo tenía, ¿cómo se llama? Déjenme lo presente. Tenía mi página de X, déjenme ver que se va a abrir en mi página de X, no se va a abrir una mamada. Ahí está, no, ahí está solamente el buen David poniendo puras mamadas. También Alex. eh, profile replies. Acá, justamente, aquí está. El episodio de South Park, padres. Acá, en el episodio de la 3 de la temporada 19 de City Part of Town, que es como The Shitty Part of Town, la parte de mierda de la ciudad. Y esto habla de la gentrificación que viene y le pega a South Park y la familia de Kenny, que son los pobres, se llevan todo el putazo de esto porque todo el mundo empieza a cambiar todas sus operaciones a esos lugares que eran feos antes y los hacen bonitos. Ahora, esto fue en septiembre 30 del 2015. La gentrificación en México, brother, es nueva, nos lleva a la verga a todos. Tranquilos, por el amor de Dios, literalmente. Aquí es donde, una vez más, me gustaría invitar a todos ustedes, a toda la gente en Estados Unidos, a darse cuenta que esto es nuestro gobierno poniéndonos el pie, alborotándonos, creando algún tipo de problema que vayan a empujar todavía más para adelante, porque más allá de estas tensiones entre México y Estados Unidos, lo que están haciendo son tensiones clasistas en México oficialmente, porque no tienen la variedad de razas que tenemos en Estados Unidos. En Estados Unidos tenemos, por ejemplo, en vez de estas protestas de la gentrificación, tenemos las de razas, ¿no? Porque pues, vienen los inmigrantes, güey, vienen los chinos y los mexicanos de mierda. Entonces, lo que quiero invitarlos es que se den cuenta que sus gobiernos son los causantes de todas estas cosas, de poner a todo el mundo en contra uno al otro. De crear estas narrativas, de soltarte toda la sopa para que te vuelvas loco con esa información que no necesitas y que te da igual, y para que no te des cuenta de la cosa más grande. Deberíamos de despedir a todos ellos por hacer un terrible trabajo, en el único trabajo que tienen los hijos de puta. Y parece ser, si no se han dado cuenta, que el único trabajo que tienen todos sus políticos es hacer un teatro para imputarlos a todos ustedes. Vivas en México, vivas en Estados Unidos. Les estoy diciendo esto con lo de Jeffrey Epstein enfrente, ¿no? Porque salieron y nos dijeron, vamos a hacer todas estas cosas, y vienen y luego salen a, no, no es así. Y luego, ¿por qué hacen eso? Para decirte, tómala, para volver a todo el mundo loco, para que todo el mundo se empiece a pelear entre ellos y no se den cuenta de una cosa. La gentrificación, que es nueva en México, según esto, ¿no? Nunca había pasado. Nunca una zona en México había subido de precio por nada, ¿no? Que es la estupidez más grande del planeta. Pero bueno, esto que les están trayendo a México, que es nuevo, lleva toda la vida pasando. En Estados Unidos, si South Park ya hizo ese episodio, la primera casa que compré, no, la primera, una casa que compré en el 2012 en Los Ángeles, la compré por $2 millones. Hoy esa casa, 13 años después, vale 5,200,000. Gentrificación. Donde vivo ahorita, las casas, la más barata vale por ahí de $5 millones. Literalmente estas casas valían $1,500,000 hace 7 años. Gentrificación. Literalmente todo lo que vas a comprar en la tienda hace 5 años costaba menos del doble de lo que cuesta hoy, costaría 50%. Gentrificación o inflación causada por esta bola de putos para que no te des cuenta de esos problemas, y se enseña y sale a frotar en esta forma, y lo único que hacen es le ponen nombre para que no te des cuenta que lo que están haciendo es destruyendo a toda la clase media. Se los he dicho por cuántos años, ¿no? Con la famosa de esta, con el delta de la gente que se está volviendo más rica y más pobre los demás. Es justamente eso. Entonces, si se van a pelear con los gringos, con los mexicanos, no se peleen. Dense cuenta que deberíamos todos pacíficamente, porque si nos ponemos a armar este pedo como si fuera una revolución, no va a acabar bien, pero pacíficamente todos deberíamos de tal vez, es lo que yo recomendaría en México, en Estados Unidos y en todos los países del mundo, porque todos funcionan igual. Deberíamos de correr a toda la gente que está a cargo y implementar un nuevo sistema de gobierno. Que no sean ellos y que funcione completamente diferente. Y ahora todo el mundo me va a venir a decir cómo debería de funcionar el gobierno cuando no han tenido una puta compañía. No. Debería de correrse como una compañía, debería de ser un privilegio ser parte de esto, deberían de pagarte un chingo y deberías de detener todas tus actividades extra fuera del gobierno, porque no podemos tener conflictos de interés. La gente y la mentalidad humana es muy pequeña y todos necesitamos hacer un chingo de dinero por alguna razón, aunque tengamos trillones y trillones y trillones, queremos más y poder. Todo eso tiene que cambiar. Así que lo que deberíamos de ver no es gentrificación, es literalmente el problema de inflación, el problema de crear una destrucción a la clase media que se refleja en diferentes formas a través de todas las economías en Estados Unidos, en México. Una de ellas es gentrificación, que es una estupidez, es simplemente lo mismo. Es gente más rica, pues que la menor cantidad de dinero concentrándose en menos manos, esa gente tiene para comprar más, puede comprar más cosas, se expande diferentes oportunidades, porque no puedes hacer algo que ya es caro mucho más caro, es más fácil, y es por eso que mucha gente no comprende este fenómeno. Es una jugada de bienes raíces. Si quiero hacerme rico haciendo bienes raíces, no voy a comprar un edificio que esté de no mames o varios, porque va a haber muy poco delta para arriba de ganancias. Pero si lo que hago es compro una ciudad de mierda entera que vale nada y la renuevo, ese es un negociazo para mí. A fin de cuentas, todo esto No es nada malo que sea el negocio, lo malo es que toda esta inflación y todo este desplazamiento de gente, etcétera, ocurre por las malas políticas de tus gobiernos que te están poniendo en contra de tus ciudadanos, en contra de tu gente a propósito, y esa es la cagada del mundo. Y recuerden, nuestro movimiento no se trata de las noticias, no importa lo que estén diciendo en las noticias, simplemente es darnos cuenta de lo que están intentando hacernos a todos, ponernos en contra de todos y hacer que nos queramos matar unos a los otros en vez de decir, a ver, bola de políticos de mierda, todos ustedes valen verga, nunca han hecho nada bien, nunca, nunca. Vámonos a la verga y vamos a poner un nuevo sistema. Eso es lo que todos deberíamos de tener en mente. Y antes de irme, solamente quiero regresar a esto. Elon Musk va a hacer su partido político. Vamos a ver, esa va a ser una buena narrativa. Vamos a ver qué exactamente sale de eso. Lo estoy viendo muy de cerca, porque claramente aquí hay una jugada. Vamos a ver qué tipo de jugada es. Y la otra, regresa a lo de los aranceles, para que veas tu Paco favorito a espantarte con los aranceles una vez más que... Y lo de la inflación. Bueno, voy a platicar de eso en el Nadie Me Preguntó de hoy. Pero con eso dicho y hecho, vámonos a las tablas, ¿no? Vamos a analizar este casino, el tío Salo. Vamos a darle con todo, que ya tengo aquí a Alex y a Farhan. Por cierto, buenos, para la gente que estuvo aquí el viernes, buenos cortos, buenas cosas que salieron por ahí del buen Alex. Ahora, no he checado el precio últimamente, pero hasta ahorita nos dio el movimiento este agresivo a la baja. Vamos a ver si continúa o no, pero se empieza a ver bien. Se empieza a ver bien, tíos. Y también no sé por qué, vi unos amigos que no veía hace años, me estaban pidiendo que si les enseñaba a invertir. Le digo, no mames, solamente con las empresas más grandes y vete a dormir, cabrón. Y ya, no puede ser tan fácil. Es así de fácil. Pero para los que quieren aprender un poco más, ya saben que aquí tenemos el buen Elite Trading Academy para todos ustedes. Cáiganle a nuestro Discord, es absolutamente gratis, siempre es bueno recargarse por acá. Voy a ponerles justamente eso para que lo puedan ver. Este es nuestro Discord, aquí está en el enlace abajo, Elite Trading Academy, y pueden ver que a la izquierda tenemos todos nuestros menús, tienen los análisis de Alex, los análisis de Farhan por acá, tenemos nuestro criptolingo para todas las cosas que tal vez no entiendan, palabras, abreviaciones, etcétera, cosas que ven en la pantalla, aquí están, pero también cualquier cosa que necesiten, vengan a Elite Trading Academy, ahí tenemos un maldito curso que me va a hacer millonario con $29.99. Vayan a verlo porque es importante, pueden aprovechar todos estos en vivos todas las semanas, aprender con nosotros y literalmente aprender el lenguaje que hablamos. Ya de ahí pueden hacer lo que sea, pueden ir a aprender de otras personas. Vengan al chat general también. Chat general es bueno, apoyarte en otros puntos de vista con una comunidad de traders buena. También vengan a compartir sus ganancias o sus pérdidas. Vamos a ver si está por acá el tomatito. No, pero Main se llevó un 892% en un short. No mames. Bien por ti. Pero ya sé cómo le hacen. Ya no les voy a decir, ya no me impresionan porque ya sé cómo le hacen. Están como degenerados en la computadora, ven movimientos agresivos, pones 500X, pones tantito dinero y lo dejas correr. Ya, estoy aprendiendo de sus porquerías. Vean, 902% en Ethereum. Nada mal, 170%. Pendejos números. Aquí está Tomatito, el mismísimo, un short de 500X. Te digo, Tomatito, ya aprendí tu técnica, ¿eh? Prepárate para ser desbancado por el tío Salo, aunque también probablemente va a perder todo mi dinero. El primer trade que hice con un 500X, perdí mi trade. Al principio hice un chingo de dinero, pero después lo perdí. Voy a intentar hacer otro. Nada más no me ha tocado ningún movimiento agresivo en lo que estoy en la computadora, honestamente. Cualquier cosa aquí, vénganse también a nuestros enlaces oficiales. Tenemos un concurso de trading que está ocurriendo en este momento en BTCC. Cáiganle por acá, son hasta $60,000 en USDT. Quedan 8 días y 2 horas. Vénganse a registrar. Solamente hay 49 personas participando. Solamente hay 49 personas participando. Esta es la manera más rápida de hacer bastante dinero y aquí tienen toda ¿cómo se dice? La división de todos los premios. Pues ahí está BTCC con Elite Trading Academy, tíos. Ahí lo tienen. No cuesta nada. Simplemente tienes que darle el enlace aquí abajo para registrarte con BTCC. Y si quieres aprender cómo usar esos exchanges de futuros, simplemente cáenos aquí a Elite Trading Academy. Perdón, lo tengo en inglés. Oigan, estaba pensando ayer. Bueno, ahorita les digo. Cáiganle en tutos. Te caen en tutos y pones cómo tradear en Bluffing. Bluffing es uno de los exchanges que usamos. El otro es BTCC, que es donde estamos teniendo el torneo de trading. Bluffing es solamente criptos. BTCC también tiene acciones tokenizadas. Lo ves esto en 5 minutos. sabes cómo operar y acá ya le picas para abrir tu cuenta directo y no caer en ninguna trampa de absolutamente nada. Recuerden que nunca les voy a pedir dinero, ni tampoco Alex, ni tampoco Farhan, ni les vamos a manejar su dinero, ni les vamos a ofrecer algún tipo de mamada. Así que no les vean la cara de pendejos, ¿ya? No les vamos a mandar un mensaje jamás, se los prometo, ni en los comentarios de los videos en YouTube, ni tampoco en el Discord, para nada. No te voy a, si alguien te escribe y dice que soy yo y te dice, oye, ¿cómo van las cripto? Espérame, ¿cómo van tus operaciones en criptomonedas? Ese no soy yo. Yo no hablo así, no me interesa cómo van tus operaciones en criptomonedas, honestamente. Te quiero mucho, pero tengo otras cosas que hacer, más que ver tus putas operaciones de criptomonedas. Ese güey está ahí para robarte. Y la otra cosa que iba a... ¿qué era lo de México contra Estados Unidos? Que ayer estaba mi mujer me pregunta, ¿a quién le vas, a México o Estados Unidos? Le digo, honestamente, a ninguno de los dos, me da igual, ¿no? Porque es fútbol, soccer. Quien gane, honestamente, iba a estar contento porque, y ahora, aquí les va. Hay muchos de ustedes que cuando dije eso pensaron, pero ¿cómo le deberías ir a México? Naciste en México. Y están los del otro lado que yo digo, bueno, entonces le voy a México y dirían, pero que no vives en Estados Unidos según esto y te fuiste de México. No hay como cómo ganar en eso, ¿no? Sí, a la verga. Bueno, aquí están Alex, aquí está Farhan. Vamos a darle con todo a este casino, el tío Salo. Vamos a analizar estos precios. Y bienvenidos, damas y caballeros. Bonjour.
Alex, buenos días, muchachos.
What is this? What is this on the phone, man? You
fucking
drugs and
what up,
phone. I'm just kidding. How are you?
Yeah, my bad.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm absolutely kidding. I'm like, dude, I'm half the time on my fucking phone. Get out of here. How are you, boys?
Doing good.
Not so well.
We'll get to fucking fix those problems together. Yes, I'm glad you are, sir. I'm here to distract you a little bit. Do a lot of Trump jokes.
I'm gonna distract myself. I'm gonna speak with my lawyer after this. I'm not gonna say about what, but we will solve it. We will solve it.
Very nice. And we'll look at some charts too to keep distracting ourselves from all of the ugliness from our real lives. Just don't tell my wife I said that, please.
That's all I just know.
Who's going to be the first one to share? And what's going on with these Bitcoins?
I'm trying to get my screen up. Let me get this.
Your screen up?
Yeah, of course my trading view is just lagging today. I think the Wi-Fi is, honestly.
Let me see. You got Farhan's. There you go. What do you got, sir? Show us the goods.
I'll start out. So I think I want to start with right now on the daily on Bitcoin. So we did get a move all the way down. We got a move. Basically, our wick low right now is at about $107,900. It's about $200 off of our median. We kind of front ran the median by a little bit. We tapped the 9 EMA basically perfectly. We came down to this meme line that I have, and right now we are still getting a bounce. If you look at our momentum is very close to flipping back to the upside. It's at the reset zone right now, and we have put in a little bit of hidden bullish divergence. Not really the most significant drive, but it will be confirmed with the close over about $109,677. Right now, volatility is sitting at extreme lows, very, very, very close to getting into an expansion phase. And we are currently at about 4.67%, lifting up from about 2% on volatility. And now the jewel is losing the sell signal. It is switching over into a neutral signal, and we have the bullish cross with the pink crossing above the yellow. So as long as we are holding above this median, this jewel setup is going to play out, and we should see a move into the 38.2%, which right now is sitting at around $110,800. It's all going to depend on whether we get that close of the median and what happens with the median after the close. If the median moves up and it moves above price action, that's going to be very bearish, and the median is going to be seen as resistance. It's a little bit unlikely as long as we are above that median. And if it moves down, it can be seen as that median very likely will be a support area. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to hit it, but it will be a good area of support if we do get a move to the downside. And then we will be gauging whether our jewel is still giving us a bullish signal, but when we're getting that move to the median, if it moves down or not, or if it switches over to a more bearish signal. Let's go to 15 minute. 15 minute right now is also getting that bounce from that same meme line right now. and we are getting somewhere around the 61.8% of the HPDR. What we want to see is a close back over the 38.2%, which will also give us a close over the 5 EMA, which we have been rejecting all this way down. Right now, we are getting our momentum starting to shift back up, and we are putting a little bit of bullish divergence on the 15-minute, with momentum making a higher low and price making lower lows. And that bullish divergence will confirm with any close over $108,480 on the 15-minute, and that will give us another retest of somewhere around these prior rejected highs of around $109,000. If you can start to close a 15-minute over about $109,054, that's when we're back in the game. We very likely are going to be testing the mid to upper 110s.
Love that we're looking at 15-minute charts, ladies and gentlemen. We fucking did it. We fucking did it, boys.
We're providing serious analysis on the 15-minute chart. Right now, the jewel on the 15-minute is starting to give a God mode background, and we are losing the sell signal. All we need now is to shift over into a buy signal, and then we will get that God mode buy signal, and that also corresponds with the bullish divergence, giving us a little bit of a nice bounce from this zone. Go to the 2-day. 2-day right now is fairly close to shifting to the downside on momentum. We haven't quite confirmed it just yet. We will close in 10 hours. Bulls are going to have to bounce this in the next 10 hours, or bears are going to take control. Because the last time 2-day freshly flipped to the downside was right over here in June, and we did get a move to about, what was this zone? Right around that 50% to the 61.8% of the HPDR. Right now, that level is somewhere between $102,000 and about $100,000. And if we are going back to $100,000, very likely at that point we are going to break down. So right now, it is going to come down to today's close. Right now, the jewel is still giving a buy signal, and it's still putting in hidden bullish divergence. And that will be invalidated with any close today below about $107,193. Go to the index. 5-day is currently getting a projection of the median. 5-day closes in about 2 days and 11 hours. If we do get a projection of the median, we are going to get probabilities that we're going to hit the bottom 38.2%. Which right now also the bulls are going to have to close this in a more bullish posturing before the close. Or if that happens, then you're very likely, well, technically you would have to lose the 9 EMA first, but the probabilities would be in favor that you would be losing that 9 EMA, because you would have probabilities of hitting that bottom 38.2%. Right now that level sits at about $98,860. Momentum is currently flipped to the upside on the 5-day, and it's also putting in possible hidden bullish divergence, but it has to close over about $110,598 to confirm. And volatility is now sitting at extreme lows at 5%. And the 5-day is also losing the sell signal on the jewel. Go to the weekly. Come on. Weekly is still positioned to the downside on momentum, with volatility now expanding from 0%. And weekly is right now getting 2 closes over the 5. So as long as we are holding over that 5 EMA, it still should be seen as probability to put in a higher low. Right now, we haven't quite gotten our reconnect with that 5 EMA. It's sitting at about $107,100. And if we at the very least, even if we're going to be bearish, we very likely do get somewhat of a little bounce from that 5 EMA, even if it's going to fail. If that bounce from that 5 EMA does manage to close over about 110,598 or 110.6, at that point, I'm going to be saying we're probably going to be going to a new all-time highs, and probably my first target is going to be the median, which is right now at about 117. But I can't front run that idea. You have to wait until that actually happens. 2-week is also currently still flipped up on momentum, but volatility now expanding from about 0%. And we do have a current closure over the median. And if we start to lose this 5 EMA at about $105,000, that's what would give us a target of our reconnecting with the median. Even right now, we still would have, even before losing the 5 EMA, we would still have pretty high odds of reconnecting with that median after getting a close over it. Because whenever you close over the median and the median moves up, and it's still below price action, you usually do get a reconnect with it. And that would take you towards somewhere around that $102,000 area. Very interesting. 102,500, which technically you would be putting in a higher low. It's just a little bit less likely that you would get that bounce in that area, but technically that would be a higher low. Very interesting. And the jewel is still giving you a buy signal. Go to the monthly. Monthly is currently positioned to the downside on momentum. Still also putting in potential hidden bullish divergence, But the divergence is just a possibility as long as you are closing below about $110,617. If you do confirm that hidden bullish divergence, pretty easy to say you're going to new all-time highs. And now you're getting volatility expansion on the monthly from about 8%. And the jewel on the monthly is also losing the sell signal. Quarterly did get ever so slightly a closure over that median, which does give you probabilities of before this quarterly candle closing of getting a reconnect with that median. Right now, the median is sitting over $160,000. Is at $164,900. And quarterly is getting momentum flipping to the downside, but just like the other time frame, it hasn't gotten the closure with that momentum flipping down, so it hasn't confirmed it just yet. And it will flip back to the upside if we can get price getting a close over 107,180, or we can get a wick tick above 111,965. Either one of those two things happen, very likely momentum is going to shift back to the upside. Now let's switch over to RSI. 15-minute currently has 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence on the RSI with that God mode jewel signal. Now we are getting the buy signal on that God mode jewel, and we are currently do have a silver cross to the downside, and we have to assume that this somewhere between this 9 EMA and this 200 EMA is going to be resistance. That puts us at a zone between 108.5 to like 108.6, and see if that lines up with any of our RSI targets. Oh, the edge of our bearish control zone is right around that $108,500 zone. So if you were going to be aggressive, you could take a short right around this 108.5s area, and you would have your stop loss right at this big high of around 108.830, and that would be relatively safe because you would be targeting based off of that quarterly median 102s. So your stop is about 0.25% versus your profit. Your first area would be somewhere around 104s and then 102s. Damn, I gotta zoom out a lot. That would be about like 104.5 is around 3.6% move, and then 102 is around like a 5.5% move versus 0.25% against you. So I can't even do the math, but that's pretty crazy. Now let's switch to 30-minute. 30-minute is also approaching that resistance zone. It can take us somewhere into the 105.6s. Likely not that much higher. Once you start to see a 30-minute closure over like 105.7, that's where you get a move into that silver cross, which hasn't really technically happened just yet. But once you do get that cross confirmed, you probably are going to get a dump ski off of that. Let's zoom a little bit. Let me put a cheeky little short in this area. I'll play it with you guys. There we go. Taking it with you. Hourly is also getting that bounce off that 200 SMA. 200 has held on the last two bounces. If you do get
what a candle
rejection, if we do get a rejection of that 108.6s to 108.7s area, and we get another test with that 200, at that point, I'm going to be on the side that it's going to break down. This is quite the bounce. Everyone's going to be scared to short this.
Yep. Even the
2 hours got many drives of bearish divergence still active. This divergence is going to be active as long as you're closing below about 108,934. Your next target on the divergence would be the neutral zone, which right now is at about 107,925. Next target with volatility this low is the bearish control zone. That's at about 106.9, not really that much lower. Oh, beautiful. Critical sunsets at 102. And we were very close to getting volatility expansion now. We're starting to tick up. Still below the moving average though. And usually when we get a closure like this, we tend to fill these wicks out.
Which ones? The ones to the top?
These.
Oh, those to the bottom. Got it.
And now 4-hour has a confirmed drive of hidden bearish divergence, going to be active as long as you're closing below 109.125. Your next drive, and we're getting volatility expansion now above that 15% from extreme lows with a hidden bearish divergence. And we are going to be, our next target on the divergence is going to be the neutral zone and the simple moving average, which right now sits at about 108. And with volatility expansion from extreme lows, it's pretty safe to say we can target the bearish control zone. Right now that sits at about 106.8. Critical zone. Oh, also 102s. Another piece of confluence for 102. I think the TP on my short will be 102.5. And the same stop loss that I just told you guys before. Daily, nothing. 2-day, nothing. I'm curious, the 12-hour have? Yeah, 12 hours now putting in another drive of bearish divergence, and that will confirm with any close below about $108,070. And your easy target after divergence is the neutral zone, but the more realistic target is the bearish control zone with volatility this low. The neutral zone is 107.180, and the bearish control zone is 103.855. Pretty close to our 102s. That does support our first TP of 104 area. 3-day currently still has active hidden bullish divergence. Going to be active as long as you're closing over about 105,159. Your next target on the divergence is going to be the bullish control zone with volatility this low. That level sits at about, no, never. I'm looking at the wrong number. 118,557. 5 days now, 2 periods of 0% volatility, no divergences. Let's see, a little bit of a lower low from this low here. Do we make a higher low? Yep, there's hidden bullish divergence possible on the RSI. You have to close above 110,598 to confirm, and that would give you a target of about simple moving average about 114,000. Next level is about 130,000. Weekly still got hidden bullish divergence confirmed on the RSI. Going to be confirmed as long as you're closing over 99,700. Oh, actually, my bad. I'm looking at the wrong number. 105,159. Same number as before. And you're already in the critical zone, so you can't really get any targets off of that. Last time you were in the critical zone on the weekly was right over here in November of 2024. So it was very, very significant to be in that critical zone. Also, gives a little bit more odds in the favor of the bulls, as that the RSI has made it into the critical zone. Come on. 2 week is also has active hidden bullish divergence, and it's putting in another possible drive of hidden bullish divergence that will confirm with any close over 110,598. That will give us an easy target of the bullish control zone, but likely higher since volatility is starting to expand now from extreme lows, getting over that moving average, getting to almost 10%, just about double digits. Very close to getting over that 15% later, yeah. And right now, that divergence will confirm, will give us a target of that bullish control zone, which is currently at about $115,000, just above our 114 area. And then the critical zone is at about, this is a little high. This level is probably a little unlikely. Probably going to update, but right now it's at about 178. Let's go to monthly.
By the way, I can't remember what he was, but Kathy Wood said something very recently that I also think, and now I'm doubting myself. God damn it. I'm sorry. Your crazy target just reminded me of Kathy.
Yeah, that's not a Kathy target. That would be George target.
Yeah, Kathy goes into the billions.
There's got to be 7 figures to be a Kathy number. Well, on the monthly, we have invalidated the bearish divergence, put in a drive of hidden bullish divergence, and this is going to be active as long as you're closing over 74,441. And your next target is the critical zone, which right now sits at about, actually, first target is the simple moving average. That one's at about $116,000, and the critical zone is 167. Interesting. Lower low on the RSI. And then also possible drive of hidden bullish divergence on the quarterly RSI. And that will confirm with any close over about 111,965. I'll give you a target of the critical zone, which right now is at about $201,000, pretty high. And we'll go to momentum. Quarterly is still expanding from the lowest level ever on momentum. We have had a quarterly closure, and the pivot is now at about $98,521. This level went up by like $3,000, but it's still significantly lower than where price action is right now, about $10,000 lower. Monthly is it has now shifted below the 15% on volatility, but we have not gotten to close below that 15% level. So technically, it has not invalidated the monthly volatility setup just yet. If it does invalidate and we do close the monthly with that volatility contracting, that would be the first time the monthly setup has ever been invalidated, which right now I am not really on the side that that will happen. It is possible now. It is a lot more likely since volatility has shifted below that meme line. But there still is a possibility that it will shift back up before the monthly close, and there's 24 days left to go, which is an eternity in cryptocurrency land. And right now, it still would be probably more wise to bet on the side of that 100% probability. And monthly momentum is still pointed to the upside and will remain to the upside as long as we're over $95,250. This level used to be about high 103s. This level dropped by like $8,000 or $9,000, close to $9,000, which is very bullish to see the number drop by that much and then see it drop significantly below price action. 2-week is also giving you that volatility expansion, the volatility setup, very close to confirming over that 15%, and it's currently pointed to the upside as long as you're closing over $104,500. Also, another area of significance for that 104 region. Weekly is also freshly positioned to the upside, very close to getting volatility fully contracted, and you are pointed up on weekly as long as you're closing over 106,800. 5-day is also giving you 2 periods of 0% volatility with a volatility setup, and you are flipped down on the 5-day. You will flip up in 2 days and 10 hours, and you can close over 109,600, which right now we are about $1,000 below. And the 5-day stochastic is also putting in possible hidden bullish divergence like the RSI. 2-day is currently positioned to the upside with many periods of 0% volatility, about 8 periods of 0% volatility now. And we are going to be flipped up as long as we're closing over $107,200. And the 2-day has hidden bullish divergence currently, as long as you're closing over about 105, 159. Daily is also giving you a volatility setup now. Volatility sitting at extreme lows. Daily is going to be flipped down as long as you're closing below 109,800, which we are also about $1,200 below. Go to 4 hour. 4 hours not giving us that volatility expansion above that 15%, giving us a volatility setup, and we are currently going to be flipped freshly to the downside as long as we're closing below $109,300. Let's see where we had this last volatility setup to the downside. We had this right over here. Not really a volatility setup to the downside. It started to the downside, but then it expanded to the upside, and momentum was pointed to the was it? It was ever so slightly pointed to the downside, but it was significantly lower. So we would have told you wouldn't have gotten the real move. Let's see if we can take it from here. This is more like one that we have now, although we are flipping down from higher now, so it should be more powerful. And this was a move down of about 7%. Find another example. This is closer. Let's measure this from the wick high to the wick low. This is about 9%. Let's take about 7 to 9% from here. 7% from there brings us to about. Let's be more fair and take it from the wick high like we did last time. 7% brings us to right around $102,000. Very cool, very interesting, amazing. 9% brings us to about $99,000. It plays out into the idea of the short. High time frames up. So on the high time frames, Bitcoin is still looking quite bullish to me. We have gotten a quarterly closure over this meme line, which has been resistance for this last two quarterly candles, and we have gotten a back test of that meme line, and we are currently bouncing off of it. And quarterly is getting volatility expansion from the lowest level ever, with momentum currently pointed to the upside. Quarterly is putting in possible hidden bullish divergence on the RSI, which already has a drive of hidden bullish divergence on the RSI. This is another one, and it will be confirmed with a new close over 111,965. Monthly still has that volatility sort of present. It has drifted below the 15%. It hasn't closed below there yet. And monthly is still pointed up on momentum as long, and the pivot has dropped by almost $9,000 and dropped significantly below price action. And it is going to be pivoted up as long as you're closing the monthly over about $95,200. Also, 2 week is now giving you volatility expansion, getting to about 10% to double digits, very close to getting over that 15% area. And 2 week is also positioned to the upside. Weekly is now freshly positioned to the upside. All of them have hidden bullish divergence. Only time frames that are currently down are the daily and the 4 hour. The 2-day is also now positioned to the upside. The 5-day is positioned to the upside with 2 periods of 0% volatility. 2-day has 8 periods of 0% volatility, but the daily and the 4-day are currently 4 hour are currently positioned to the downside, giving you odds. And if you were to take the same amount of moves you have. Same amount of percentage moves with the 4 hour setup on volatility, that would bring you right around to $102,000, which is our quarterly median. And that is the area where I'm expecting a very large bounce from. And right now, based off of the higher time frame setups, I do think from that $102,000 to $104,000 area, I do think I'm leaning more towards 102. I do think that we're going to go to a new all-time highs from there. Right now, the invalidation on this is getting either a tick below 74,441 or getting a weekly close below about $92,900. Aside from that, I do think we're going to get a short-term move into that quarterly median around 102 to maybe slightly higher at 104s, and then from there into all-time highs. And I'm currently short and hard.
Nice. Now I'm hoping my connection's good, so bear with me.
Looks good. Yeah.
It's okay. Perfect. So what do we have on Bitcoin? Well, things are definitely cooking up this week and the next, specifically this month. You're really going to either see, in my opinion, a new low on Bitcoin or a new high on Bitcoin. I don't think that this consolidation is going to last forever, and that's just solely based on volatility. We've seen this fully reset now on the 5-day. These give you this 5-day setup on Bitcoin gives you major moves, as Farhan mentioned. So now what we see is we do have 2 sessions of zero volatility mixed in with the 2-day as well, which is multiple 0 sessions of zero volatility. This is very significant for me because a major move is coming on Bitcoin, and that's just evident even on the daily. So we want to be watching very carefully, specifically when we know that this is in breakout posturing. But right, with my analysis, I'm still not fully convinced on this move up, and that an all-time high is coming as easy as everyone expects it to. For me now, it's solely based on the 5-day, and that's what's giving us an easy setup. It's very interesting to see that once you actually deviated that 109.3 after rejecting 110,300, you aggressively moved down. Here you swipe down all the lows, giving you, in my opinion, that lower low break, moving up here, giving a lower high and a very dirty one. We talked about this the moment, specifically this day when we made the high at 110,598. It's very interesting to see that, because if you go and check this high out, right, in theory, per my system, you need to take out this wick high. The high is 110,617. So Bitcoin did not take that out and actually started to move down. To me, it just seemed very obvious that, well, this technically now needs to be the high. This needs to be the lower high. We should not at all come back to this zone, because if we even come up, $100 higher, we're going to take this high out, shifting this into an uptrend with the breakout posturing with this channel, this new channel. With volatility contracted, you want to be very cautious of Bitcoin putting in a very busting action move. The median as well guided me. You can see here that this has moved up to resistance. And even so, you wouldn't even move up hitting the last 5-day wick high. So this is, in my opinion, still very bearish, and bulls are looking at this as a throwback. They want 107,500 to 107,600 to hold. But again, if we fall back within this channel, this is just going to look like what occurs every time on Bitcoin, which is often when you get these channels on a higher time frame, you usually get fake outs. That's at least in my experience what I've seen. We even saw a fake out here. This fake out led to a nice move. We did technically break out. We are holding it. But as soon as Bitcoin starts losing that 107.5, that's when things actually become more, give me more confluence of this whole analysis that, well, actually this is a lower high and Bitcoin is on the verge of taking out this wick low, which actually would correspond with the median rejection taking you to the bottom 38.2%. That's currently sitting right around 98,500 to where is it actually specifically? Yeah, 98,860. So you're getting confluence of that on that 5-day EMA 34, which remember, we haven't actually hit that. Why would 107.5 be very important? Well, if we go to the daily here, if it wants to load, let's see. Okay, perfect. Nice. So the daily is actually in a very important spot, and that's just evident based on the daily EMA 9. So the daily EMA 9 is a very important spot. We see the breakout, we see the back test, and it is support. So in theory, this zone should hold on Bitcoin. It's not really until you start losing the daily EMA 9 where, yeah, this definitely can make a move to the EMA 21, which has implications of us falling back within this channel. Falling back within this channel would give you a target, in my opinion, to around that 105.5 to 106K. 106K will still be a major spot for me. You're either going to flip this into support and break out towards, the end of this week, early next week, or yeah, this will then, in my opinion, lose 106K, which I think is likely. And then once you lose 106K, this gives you confluence of a breakdown to then that extremity low, which is essentially the range low of this big range at 103.1 to 104.3, and then you have resistance at that 109.300. So that's just a big range. If you look at that as a big range, it does make it a lot easier on Bitcoin. So the ranges don't change for me with volatility or time. This still will be the big spot. If you start losing that 103.1, 103.2 on any like daily 12-hour or even higher, yeah, that's great confluence that, yeah, this is now in a range breakdown. And then you're going to get that move down to that 100,000, 101, 200. I can't speak numbers, I guess. This right here is very significant because you see the daily EMA 100 sitting right around that zone. And it actually has stepped up. We were getting confluence of a bounce when we moved down to 99,800 because of the daily EMA 100 was sitting right around there. So now this has moved up. That is good. We just now wouldn't want this wick low to get taken out. So for me, going into today, I'm just watching very carefully the daily EMA 9. You want to really be watching to see if we're going to lose that or if we're going to get a bounce, because we definitely could still get a bounce off that daily EMA 9. But you do see you're starting to lose the daily median. The daily EMA 9 we know is an easy trade each time, specifically when you're in trending markets with volatility, right? You see the volatility, trending markets. Often that daily EMA 9 acts as just an easy buy spot. So, this will be, in theory, the bounce zone, and we're going to move up from here. Bulls just look at this as the throwback before moving up, baiting shorts, or yeah, this is the start of the breakdown. You're already now starting to get that price divergence on the daily, which would need to play out, in my opinion, if you're going to, be on the camp of the 5 days in a downtrend. The daily then would need to start brewing downtrend characteristics, which is, potentially lower highs, keyword potentially. You need to take out this low, which is at July 4th low, 4th of July. that 107,200 low is very crucial for bulls and bears. Again, implications, because if you start coming down, taking this low out, shifting daily into a downtrend while going back within this channel, it's going to give you an easy short to a minimum 106K. Where there, you need to see bulls step up. And that's just simply evident on the daily EMA 34. I mean, we know simply if you lose the daily EMA 34, this is going to open up that EMA 100. I don't really trade off the 55 rather than, silver crosses. I like using the EMA 100. That is a pretty big range. So I don't really have FOMO with trades. I want to definitely be capitalizing and using this as an opportunity. Each time Bitcoin's moving up to that 109.3 to 109.6, to me, this is just easy short opportunity because I know exactly where I'm wrong. And that's just simply based on the 5-day. So let's see if this loads. So as we progress into this week, you want to really be watching carefully because now how I see things, let me make sure this is loaded in. Okay, perfect. So now as we progress into this week, you just really want to be watching carefully. It's really now, in my opinion, time for bears to start flexing. I'm actually expecting Bitcoin to put in a really nice 5-day candle to the downside. And you'll even notice that 5-day EMA 9 is sitting right around that 106K region. So for me, it's like the lower highs in, this candle needs to be the start of the lower low. And for me, it's really going to be dependent on that 106K getting lost. That's still very relevant, and I'm still watching that. And today could be really good confirmation of all of this. So I think it's wise to just be watching carefully. We did identify an easy short opportunity. I can easily show that. Slow Wi-Fi should just
there you go.
Yeah, slow Wi-Fi should just be illegal. Every time I switch time frames, it gets a little laggy, so I kind of just pause and wait for it to get back in. This is an easy short trade. You're kind of expecting, to get a price divergence here. It's not, you don't get free money in this market. This was very easy to short. I know because I did short this. This was very straight to business. But I was able to really size up on this because it looked really bad last night. But again, there's no free lunch in this game. We very easily could short squeeze. This shouldn't surprise you at all, specifically when you do have an SFP here on this candle. You actually didn't put in the bearish retest. 109.3 we know is very solid resistance, specifically when you lost it here and then you retested it here. This opened up a very easy short trade that actually printed pretty nicely. 4 hour, right? So you're not going to often get follow through if you're in a range, but with what we know, which is volatility is very contracted and this range isn't going to hold forever. It is wise to be looking at these setups because the stop losses can be very tight. If you're going to play this, you would be gauging 109.3 as resistance and simply using just, slightly a little above that high on the 4 hour before we broke down like this. Simply could target, right around that 4 hour EMA 100. I often like the 4 hour EMA 100. This gives you a really nice zone to gauge. This is really nice because we see that this has moved all the way up to that channel. So if you start losing the 4 hour EMA 100, this often gives you a pretty easy short. Now, again, it's Bitcoin unicorn money. It's predatory, so it's not always going to work like that. But generally, when you lose the 4 hour EMA 9, you do end up coming down. And we can keep looking at that here. And then here you lost it, immediate follow through. Here you lost it, you got the bearish retest, came down. But again, right, it's the 4 hours, so are you going to get follow through and break down, or is it just going to range? We've just simply been ranging, but still solid resistance when you're under it. So I think that's a logical TP zone. This lines up really nicely with, right around the daily EMA 9. EMA 21, I mean, and we haven't tested that. The EMA 21 on the daily, you should expect some kind of bounce there. You can just simply see the daily 9 has been solid support. So in theory, that should at least get some reaction, specifically when it's right around the channel. And also the 4-hour EMA 100 just makes sense. But that is a setup that you could take that I'm actually going to be looking to take myself, because I'm always ready to make some money in this market. Yeah, so now what we can do is we can go to the weekly. And I like the weekly view because this kind of plays into my idea on the 5-day, which is it's more a race against time for bears, in my opinion. You are expecting bears to start flexing now and start breaking us down. You can see that the weekly has turned ugly. We have 6 days to go. In theory, if they wanted, they really could start dumping this down, getting that reconnect with the EMA 9, and just giving us a nice girthy red dildo. But again, it's just going to be really dependent on this zone here, 107.5. That's a big zone, and there should be no reason why then we really come back and take this high out. So how do we know if we're wrong? Well, if the weekly starts coming here, we start really bouncing off that 4-hour EMA 100, moving up, reclaiming 109.3. I've always said this, reclaiming this will be very, very important. And then taking out this high, yeah, it's going to look like Bitcoin's about to move up to 114, a new all-time high, and we can easily trade that up. But until then, I just can't get bullish at resistance. It just doesn't make sense. And I'll be looking at these as short opportunities. And that's why yesterday I was like, oh, we're squeezing. So that's just an easy short. Right into resistance while all of crypto Twitter gets bullish. There we go, back on. Yesterday when we had that little squeeze, it was just right into resistance. It was right here. Let me show that. Yeah, right into resistance. Didn't do anything, actually. And you can even see the median didn't get reclaimed. So that's Bitcoin. It's in a big spot. Am I opening shorts here? No. You can just simply wait to see if we lose the daily 9 and then see if we can be more aggressive on shorts. Until then, this is solid support. And you don't want to be shorting support, but rather waiting to take an easy logical trade, which is just based on the 4-hour SFP. We then, can easily get a pretty tight stop loss on that. So now we can look at Tether dominance, because this is also playing into, we need to start seeing Tether dominance move up sooner rather than later. Let me see here.
It's fucking salamis, dude. Still holding nicely above 152 right now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I was watching that last night. Altcoins move nicely. We'll look at Bitcoin dominance after Tether dominance, because that is going to be interesting to see. So let me get these lines off. So Tether dominance, we need to see this start moving up sooner rather than later, because this is in breakdown posturing. You had this channel here. You've now flipped this into resistance, so it's going to be very crucial to get the reclaim. The daily EMA 9 has lined up really nice with the 4.81%. You also see the median has moved right around that zone. So, ideally, bulls have an objective on Tether dominance, which is simply get back above, 4.81% today. That then can open up a move to the daily EMA 100, which is resistance, and we talked about that. You can't really be aggressive on shorts yet until the daily EMA 100 on Tether dominance is reclaimed. You can just see the rejections, right? This kind of keeps you in check, because you're like, well, yeah, we just haven't been reclaiming it. This needs to be reclaimed before I can really, really be aggressive on like swing shorting Bitcoin. Until then, yeah, it still can very well reject. But what we can see is if you do start reclaiming back above the daily EMA 100, this will be a reclaim. We then need to see this hold, and then this will give us that move up to that 5%. 5% is a really big zone. If we reclaim 5%, that's going to open up the door to 5.23%, if not higher. We see the 78.6% on the daily has moved to 5.5%. And if we look at volatility, very much like Bitcoin, it's reset and at extreme lows. So a move even on Tether dominance is coming. The 2-day as well. And then the 5-day. I'm going to be watching the 5-day on Tether dominance very carefully, because the 5-day on Tether dominance last occurrence started to move before Bitcoin. I really do like using Tether dominance as a gauge. It's nice when you start seeing all of the volatility levels lining up. So again, this is just telling me that July is going to be a really big month for bulls or bears. We are now at kind of the last stand. If you see the 5-day EMA 9 right at the edge of the cliff, bulls need to step up. So this then tells me that, yeah, if we're going to start moving up on Tether dominance, this gives me good confluence that, yeah, the lower highs in, this candle is going to be ugly. We definitely want to be ready and prepared for that via shorts. So that is why I've been giving a lot of shorts out around here. Now let's look at Bitcoin dominance, because we do see that Bitcoin dominance is getting volatility, but also certain alts are also moving today. We actually see, Ethereum red, but then something like Solana is nicely green. And then even XRPP as well. So let's look at that. Let me just look at here real quick one more time. Weekly. Did I miss anything? I wanted to bring this up as well. You did reclaim the weekly median. I do think this is significant because you have been holding it, and you even see it's front running it slightly. What we see with this weekly median is once it's reclaimed, you get that move to the 38.2%. That's lining up really nice with the 5.41%. So again, there is legitimate concerns. Bulls are really close on Bitcoin to getting that move up, but this really needs to get followed through and actually break down. What you're just seeing now is consolidation. Here's the slow itching of bullish reclaims that really can lead to a really big move up from here. For me, it's just going to be dependent on the daily EMA 100. So just keep watching that. Any closure above this daily EMA 100 really opens up a major move for me, and I can really then just start aggressively shorting Bitcoin because I know what's going to come. And as long as this EMA 100 holds, this often does start expanding you up. We saw this here in June when Tether dominance started to move up. Let's just check real quick. Reclaim. We then moved up 8.38%. So it is just useful to be watching. Now let's look at Bitcoin dominance. It is red. I said it was green. I was confused, mixed up. I was looking at Tether dominance. That's definitely green. Bitcoin dominance is actually getting a nice pullback. And let's see why, right? We did talk about this deviation. This did lose what should have been support. We couldn't hold the back test. We did wick above it, yes, but all this was just a test of the 38.2%. And we understood that the objective was to reclaim 65.39%, move up, and then actually break this wick high. So as long as you're closing weeklies under here, right, we lost it, we flipped this into resistance, you often get the follow through on, there's a power of threes in markets. To me now, this is looking primed to go down to support, lining up nicely with the weekly EMA 9. There's no reason to be looking at this as not support. The weekly EMA 9 has been very strong on Bitcoin dominance. We also know this region here, right around the 64.65%. This kind of puts this within a range. So you just want to really be watching that. But as it stands, as long as you're under that 65.38%, this is going to give you an objective down to the weekly EMA 9. And then you'll have to really gauge where the median shifts, because as long as you're under the 38.2%, this is technically the objective, which is the median, but this easily can start moving up. So we'll have to really see. This week's going to be very important for crypto, and my bias still has not changed. I'm still very bearish around here and more cautious. Often towards the tops, things get very bullish. I remember in, 2021, everyone thought 100K was just a given. It wasn't. And when we have easy setups, it's just smart to stick to the levels and play the levels always.
I don't think you have to go that far. End of 2024, everyone said with Trump, is the Bitcoin president. Everything's going to go up.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, Trump pump. So great point on that too. So we just want to be cautious here, because there's really nothing at this point, except time at this point, stopping bears from absolutely dumping us from this point. And that's why it's going to be really, really important to be watching the daily levels. And we're going to be watching Tether dominance, the EMA 100. And if Bitcoin dominance is going to start getting a pullback, okay, yes, alts can bounce, but you don't want to be disregarding solid support. Nothing has changed. There's no alt season. We understand that these altcoins are squeezing, but really, are they? Not really. And all XRPP has done, like, for example, has rallied up to resistance almost. If I throw on that SMA 200, which has always been the spot that we want to max short, this has now been hit. So are we in alt season? Not really. And all this was just a bearish retest. We didn't even retest it here. Well, then Bitcoin dominance, let's check trend. Very obviously still in an uptrend. So no reason to get too excited about alts. I keep, anytime we get these little altcoin pumps, people start talking about all season on crypto Twitter. It's kind of ludicrous, but it is what it is. I would be very cautious of altcoins. I'll just say that. We'll probably look at that further on to the stream, but yeah, just be very cautious on altcoins. Pullback was expected, but this is still very strong. And if you're going up to the top of the 38.2%, this was literally on the verge of a weekly breakout. Yes, it makes sense. You got the deviation, you're rejecting, and you're rolling over slightly. But again, just understand the weekly 9 could just brew a higher low. It could look like this. And then you move up. You don't take out this low. Let's check the monthly. So we'll be watching this. Still a long time for this monthly, but yeah, that's it. Just a long time. Potential top candle. With 24 days, anything could happen. The monthly MA9 will be the spot for me. If you do end up weekly trend shifting, breaking down, this will be the extremity low. If you start losing the weekly EMA9, okay, cool. We then can consider a deeper move up on alts, engage that using ETH BTC. So yeah, that's all I have really on Bitcoin. I'm very bearish today. I'm actually expecting a very bearish move this week that could happen today, tomorrow. So now it's just, okay, if I'm going to be bearish, then I need to stick to my criteria. And that is this. We need to simply just lose 107.5. You start falling back within this channel. It's going to give us really, really good confluence that, well, this is towards the end of it. Volatility is now reset. We have the 5-day momentum pivot pointed down. The 2 days closing, we need to be watching very carefully where that 2-day pivot shifts to. More often than not, when the 2-day has low volatility and the 5-day has the setup and the pivots are, in confluence or in sequence, that's often really powerful. So we want to be watching today where the 2-day actually moves on this close, and I'll be updating that on the Discord. Really then see the 2-day median and the EMA9. This is so far a top candle though. It's not really looking good. And yeah, hopefully the academy is very short around here because, I've always said that I'm bearish and cautious, and it's very easy for me to flip-flop if wrong. But until then, it can literally be like, okay, cool. I'm wrong. 5-day got reclaimed. We took out this wick. Cool. Let's target 124,000 with George. I'm down with that. That's great. That's fun and easy money. It's harder, to more short right now. It's definitely harder. Not everyone's doing it, and it's definitely not the popular trade. but that doesn't matter. The markets don't really care about that. It's just about setups, risk, and money. And so we'll keep capitalizing on that. To me now, we're going to be testing this zone, and we can even gauge it on a lower time frame using the 4-hour EMA 100. Let's see if we get a bounce here. This bounce could take us, like what I said, to that setup before rolling over. That way, then we take out those late shorts, and then late longs get crushed, thinking we're finally breaking out, and the back test is holding, while just forming a lower high. So yeah, that's all I have on Bitcoin. Very fun day. Very fun day.
Let me ask you this. Let me put, first of all, my screen so people know we're here. By the way, this is Enovix. Phenomenal comeback. I'll take it. I myself, I'm a believer that, you're going through an adjustment, and then before you get a move higher on Bitcoin, normally it looks the worst, right? So to me, I feel like we can be going towards that. Then we're going to get that aggressive move towards the top, just simply based on the narrative that's being constructed, nothing else. And also like higher timeframes being bullish. After that, I think we roll over and we go into a shit market for a long time. And a long time could be a year, 2 years, whatever the fuck it is. I mean, we got to go step by step and seeing. Do you not think we're going to get that pump? You just think we're going to go down? We're going to, do you think we already saw that top on Bitcoin, which was the latest all-time high at 112, and then we're going to go back down? Or how do you see the play?
Yeah, so let me make sure this is loaded in. So yeah, I mean, I'm basically now looking at a top very soon in markets, if not already in. That's kind of what I'm running on. I can't call a bear market. Don't have the confirmations on that yet. But with what I'm seeing, often that 5-day gives you 30% move. So a pivotal move is coming. The 5 days been often firing that to the upside. It's not always going to be like that. What would be a perfect like bear market entry is the 5-day setup, in my opinion. Now, right, let's say bear market. Again, keep me in check. If you share the screen again, if we go to the Bitcoin, where am I actually going to be bullish? Well, it's very simple. You go to the weekly on your chart and you see the weekly. Let me see if this is loaded in.
Give it 30 minutes.
Okay, as long as you guys can hear me, that's cool.
The weekly you're all good.
Okay, perfect. The weekly EMA 100, that's a big spot, and we haven't actually hit that this entire bull market. I was looking at this. If my idea is right, and we actually start, let's say, getting that 5-day expansion to the downside, and we actually play that move, well, that would be quite rare to see. These often have been firing off up. Bulls have literally gotten very easy moves up, but often, too, you get a 30% move. So if we measure 30%, right around that low. And now what we see is the weekly EMA 100, which again, we haven't tested this entire bull market. And when you got back above this, if I show, this is when like the fun really started. It's sitting right around there. So could we definitely see a greater pullback? Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what I'm looking on. ES1 has hit the monthly median. So I'm kind of looking at that to be locally topped and making its move at minimum to 6,150. Bitcoin's been weaker than stocks, so it makes sense then to be gauging that 5-day trend shift. The 5-day BBWP setup breaking us down, taking us 30% down. And then am I going to be a mega bear at 73,000? No, I'm going to be looking at this as a mega bounce zone. This very easily could take you to that bearish retest. The idea now for me is I need this to be an aggressive move down, and that's just simply based on volatility. Volatility is so contracted now across everything on all time frames that once this does fire off, it is going to be a multi-$1,000 move down or up. And as long as that 5-day pivot is pointed down, this just gives me confidence that, yeah, this is gearing up for like a very harsh move down, bear market or not, at least a multi-month pullback and consolidation. I don't think we're going to get another high on Bitcoin, and I do think the high is already in. Again, I can easily be wrong though, and that's an easy flip flop. But For me,
No,
when
no,
I
it's
can,
just thinking about how you see it. More than
yeah,
anything, it's just not about being right or wrong. It's about like, how do you see it?
exactly. And for me, it's easy to flip flop because then we can still make money. For me, it's a
Yeah.
lot wiser to be cautious and engaging that 5-day setup to fire off per the momentum pivot pointed, price is under it. And then as well with the median and then the volatility. So I do think the 5-day is going to fire off to the downside. 30% move, we'll have to gauge if that is like a bear market, because you very well could get another one on consolidation. You get another 5-day setup, then it breaks you down. Again, you see that in the bull market. You get these 5-day setups that just fire off, 5-day setup, fire off, 5-day setup, fired off, but not the full length of the setup, but still a very impressive move. Right, that was 30%. So to me, yeah, I'm not going to call it bear market, but yeah, I'm really now looking at this to just roll over this week to just really give us that really big red candle and take everyone out, because I just think everyone's expecting a high, and my system says that's really not allowed until we at minimum take out, then the last 5-day high. But if you want to be more conservative, June 5th highs very key for me. If we take that out, then yeah, my ideas diminish, and we're probably then going to reclaim and go to all-time high. So that's kind of it. The top's in for me, and it kind of makes it easy to scale shorts when we go up to like 109.6, 109.600, 109.300 on Bitcoin. It's been pretty easy money so far. So
yeah, I mean, it certainly seems like it. Let's see. Just give me my money, you fucking Bitcoin. Thank you, sirs. Greatly appreciate it. Ok, estábamos viendo Enovix, ¿vieron eso? Fue una locura comprar esto, ¿no? ¿Cuánto estás arriba? Es básicamente un 3, es casi un 3X. 140%. Wow. Ok. Vámonos con los Bitcoins, que la pregunta es, ¿para arriba, para abajo, alcistas, para adentro, al centro? Todo parece ser alcista en altas temporalidades. Por cierto, hay este nuevo feature en ¿cómo se llama? En TradingView. Le dejas picado a una vela y te pone dónde abrió, dónde cerró, y te pone dónde estaban los SMAs, EMAs y todo en esa vela. ¿Ven? Como si lo mueves se va moviendo contigo. Bastante chido. Bastante chido, brother. Ok, pero ahora estamos viendo los Bitcoins. Número 1, para mí esto es consolidación alcista. Lo que sí es, no estamos rompiendo nuevos máximos, estamos yendo para abajo, y eso nos hace pensar también que podría ser bajista. Tenemos setups de volatilidad en todas las temporalidades altas, donde normalmente sugiere setups potentes, y es a lo que tenemos que poner atención en estos momentos en los Bitcoin, damas y caballeros. Vamos a empezar con la de 3 meses, por supuesto, como siempre. Altas temporalidades, pueden ver absolutamente los movimientos alcista de a madre. Estamos ante, si fuera a cerrar hoy esta vela trimestral, que todavía le faltan 2 meses y 24 días, casi nada para cerrar una vela de 3 meses. Estamos hasta acá arriba. Básicamente sería el cierre más alto de toda la historia. Y si eres de los que utiliza cierres para medir qué tan alcista o bajista es algo, el último cierre que tuviste acá fue uno de los más alcistas que hemos visto. El cierre, que es el close, fue en 107.173. El cierre más alto que habíamos tenido antes era 93.354. Así que bastante más alto, y ahora estamos todavía más arriba. Estamos en 108.200. Entonces, esta vela podría completamente voltearse en cualquier segundo, pero vamos a estar al pendiente a ver si sí o no. Ahora, volatilidad había empezado a contraer, y es justamente lo que estamos viendo, y vamos a estar al pendiente. Si vemos que esto se voltea para arriba, lo que nos da un movimiento brutal, veremos, pero también momentum está apuntando para arriba en esta temporalidad. Además, les voy a poner, en realidad debería poner el HPDR en el índice, pero no tengo mis líneas hermosas en ese índice. Vamos al índice como sea, chingada. ¿Cómo de que no? Aquí está. All Time Index. Y acá vamos a poner el HPDR. Puta madre. Para... Solo denme 49 horas para poder llegar acá. Y ahí podemos ver dónde estamos parados. Ahora, pueden ver que veníamos desde abajo y nos ha estado rechazando constantemente la media. Aquí hay dos sopas. La sopa de ir a comer a los $79,000 o la sopa de ir a retestar esta media en los $164,000. Cualquiera de las dos. Lo pueden ver en el HBR, en el índice, y vamos a ver volatilidad. Se ve idéntica que en nuestro gráfico de Coinbase. Vamos a ponerla mensual. Mensual, venimos igual, rechazo, rechazo, rechazo. Pero ¿qué pasa cuando te encuentras con estas zonas? La cosa es, esta no la rechazó. Tenemos que aguantar, si somos alcistas, la zona de los 102,000. Si podemos aguantar la zona de los 102,000 siendo alcistas, deberíamos ir a visitar la media en los 146,000. Esto es la gráfica mensual, cuando tenemos volatilidad apuntando para arriba y tenemos divergencias alcistas en la mensual. Todo esto cambia si pierdes estos $97,000. De los $97,000, 78,000 serían tu siguiente objetivo y sería un objetivo bastante realista en esa situación. 2 semanas, Putin, Trump, Trump, Putin. Te habíamos visto todos los rechazos de la media después de haberla perdido justamente acá atrás en enero. Habíamos caído, venimos a retestearla, nos rechazó, la volvimos a tomar y ahora estamos por encima de la media y abrió abajo de nosotros. Eso nos debería dar más altas probabilidades de ir a los $130,000 que para abajo a los 99. La media está en los 102,587, lo que me da confluencia con mi 3 meses, con mi mensual, que también está en los 102, la parte baja de la zona azul. Entonces, en mi 2 semanas, mi media está justamente en la parte baja de la zona azul. De perder los 102, vamos probablemente a ver un excelente Domsky al piso. Así que vamos a tener eso pendiente. Ahora, volatilidad en la de 2 semanas nos está dando o nos está preparando un setup potente. Recuerden que este fue nuestro setup de Hamas, el original, que nos dio toda la subidota. Bitcoin estaba en $27,000, se fue a 74, y este fue el que nos llevó de los 70s hasta los 109, me parece, la primera vez. Así que son movimientos agresivos, movimientos de 30%, y una vez que tengamos otro de estos movimientos, una vez que cruce nuestra volatilidad, recuerden que la volatilidad es la línea de colores, la blanca es su promedio, estando por encima del promedio, estamos en expansión, pero nosotros consideramos expansión oficial. Una vez que rompes el 15% por encima del promedio, eso es lo que estamos buscando. Eso te da movimientos de 30%. Ahora vamos a medir 30%. Digamos que se rompe hoy bolas, güey, 30%. Nos llevaría en los 140 para arriba y para abajo nos llevaría a 75. Una vez más, esa zona continúa apareciendo por acá. Semanal. Estamos preparando otro setup de volatilidad. Estamos cayendo y cayendo rápido. Una vez que la volatilidad contraiga bajo este 15%, vamos a estar pendiente de este movimiento. Y por ahora estamos por encima del promedio del 9 con el rechazo de la media. Esto nos da oportunidades de poder rebotar justamente acá en el promedio del 9 e ir a buscar esta media en los 116 y de perder el promedio del 9 en los 106. Una vez más, 106,500 más o menos es la zona. De ahí caerías a la parte baja de la zona azul en los 102,448 y ya se sabe la historia. Si llegamos a romper los 102 para abajo, vamos literalmente o a los 99, los 92 o hasta los 76, 78. Mínimo. Trump, Putin, Putin, Trump. Ahora, 5 días, esta es la buena, porque venimos después de haber tenido esta caída de la media, que fue justamente acá en enero, la volvimos a retomar justamente en abril, que fue lo que nos dio ese zampompazo, y ahora estamos por debajo de la media. Pueden ver el impacto que tiene en la de 5 días caer por debajo de la media. Si caes por debajo de la media, hay movimientos bastante potentes a la baja. Y acá lo pueden ver, una vez que perdimos la media, nuestra siguiente vela abrió acá, y desde ese abierta hasta el fondo fue 23%. Entonces, digamos que fuéramos a hacer, vamos a ver el movimiento contrario. Tomó la media, abriste acá y te dio un movimiento máximo de 17%. Eso me huele a que todavía tiene más movimiento para arriba, debería de, pero todavía, ahora lo pierdes, estás por debajo de la media. Si esto te vuelve a dar el mismo tipo de movimiento, estamos hablando de 80s. Y para arriba, pues acá los 120s, ¿no? Interesante. Es la de 5 días también con un cero de volatilidad nulo, preparando, apuntando y fuego. Estos son los buenos. Vámonos a la de 3 días rápidamente. 3 días, volatilidad también preparando un setup. Estamos por encima de la media en la de 3 días, muy interesante. Estamos justamente por encima de la media y esto siempre y cuando aguantemos la de 3 días por un día más por encima de los 107,652, eso nos debería llevar a los 117. De perder esa zona objetivo, primer objetivo van a ser los 106,600, que es nuestro 9, y ahí una vez más 106,500 es la zona que si pierdes vas probablemente a caer más. Diaria también está preparando un setup de volatilidad. No, es que en todas las temporalidades nos va a dar algo agresivo. Tenemos por acá abajo nuestro promedio del 9 justamente en los 108, 197. De poder aguantar nos debería dar más probabilidades de ir a la parte alta de la zona azul en los 112, 947 y de perderlos muy probablemente hasta la parte baja de la zona azul porque estamos perdiendo la media ya tal cual. La media está en los 108, 300. Si podemos ganar esta media de vuelta, vámonos para arriba. De no poder hacerlo y perder los 108, básicamente vas probablemente a 104 y eso sería un efecto cadena y veríamos si la volatilidad acompañara estos movimientos. 4 horas había comenzado a expandir, pero luego se dio la vuelta y ahora está jugando sus pendejos juegos la volatilidad, por lo que, veamos, mantengan un ojo en los 19%. Si ven que se voltea para arriba, nos va a dar un movimiento agresivo. Este movimiento que nos dio fue a la baja, en volatilidad primero y luego el segundo impulso nos lo dio a la alza. Todo lo demás ha sido simplemente irse de lado. Y acá en la de 4 horas estamos, ¿dónde está la media? La media está en los 108,200. Estamos justamente por encima de la media. De poder aguantar por acá, el siguiente objetivo a romper sería justamente lo que parece ser ya el rechazo del promedio del 9, que está en los 108,700. Y si se llega a perder la media, siguiente objetivo sería nuestro promedio del 100 en los 107,300, luego en la parte baja de la zona azul en los 107 y de ahí aguantar nuestro SMA 200 en la de 4 horas, que es básicamente nuestra línea en la arena en todo. De perder este SMA 200 en la de 4 horas, bye bye baby, nos vamos más para abajo. Así que atentos por ahí. 2 horas como de que no, para ver cómo va la cosa, cómo pinta. Volatilidad comenzaba a expandir, pero no está por encima del promedio, así que no la vamos a contar. Estamos aguantando el promedio del 100. Estamos creando bajos más altos todavía de llevarte acá los 107,900 y después los 107,300. Vas probablemente a romper este SMA 200 también ahí. La de 1 hora, volatilidad está expandiendo ante este caidongo, pero no del punto más bajo para nada de esta tabla. Aquí lo pueden ver y estamos yendo un poco como de lado. Era como la caída, pero después no lo continúa apoyando con fuerza. Para ponérsela sencillita, tío, sencillita. Vamos a la diaria y ¿saben qué? Vamos a mi tabla fea. Y en mi tabla fea se las voy a dibujar. Ok. Para mí, este es un patrón de consolidación alcista, una bandera alcista y además tienes el patrón de tasa y esto. Ahora estás rompiendo al alza y estás consolidando por encima de esta línea meme. Para mí, esto tiene más probabilidad de dar probablemente ese madrazo a la alza, aunque puede que una corrección entre hoy y mañana se pueda dar. Es lo que estamos viendo y es lo que queremos mantener en mente, porque parece ser que queremos venir a visitar los 107,300 hasta los 106,300, que es el promedio del 34 aquí abajo. Y ahora, eso no rompería toda esta estructura y en realidad lo que estarías haciendo es, tuviste este breakout, vendrías a retestearlo acá y esto te podría, si rebota, llevar a la alza, pero si lo pierdes, llevarte literalmente hasta acá. Es tu línea en la arena, el promedio del 34 diario en los 106,400. Llegas a perderlo, 102,500 tiene que aguantar, 102,500 no aguanta. Estás hablando 99, 99 no aguanta, 94, 94 no aguanta, 86, 86 no aguanta, 75, 76 hasta 78 es lo que seguiría. Más fácil no se puede. Y ahora, ¿qué es lo que queremos hacer el día de hoy? Simplemente poder llevarnos este máximo de acá en los 100, bueno, no hoy, pero nos gustaría empezar a llevarnos estos máximos, porque el problema que estamos teniendo y por lo que no es tan fácil saber para dónde vas, es que esta tabla está haciendo altos más bajos, bajos más bajos, bajos más bajos, pero antes de movimientos explosivos de Bitcoin normalmente hace esta gatada. Y ahora, esa podría ser no la última gatada. La última gatada podría ser esta, donde todo el mundo dice se acabó, y en 96 rebota esta chingadera con tanta fuerza y te lleva a los 112. También podría ser ese tipo de gatada. Vamos a mantener un ojo bien abierto por acá. Vamos a checar la dominancia de Bitcoin. A mí algo que me llama la atención es que Solana no esté cayendo agresivamente comparado con Bitcoin. Y también está preparando un movimiento. Solana ha aguantado perfectamente nuestras líneas, memes, nuestros dibujitos pendejos, el promedio del 100, todo. Esto me hace pensar que tiene más fuerza alcista que bajista. Y es donde voy a mantener un ojo bien abierto por acá. Porque normalmente cuando veo eso, Bitcoin no cae como yo pensaba. Así que eso es algo más que mantener en mente. Ahora, no es una regla que funcione de 100-100 para que lo tengan siempre en la cabeza. Ahora, en la dominancia de Bitcoin la voy a poner en la de 2 semanas para que no se me hagan bolas con la velita de hoy, porque luego vemos la velita de hoy. No, ya se cayó la dominancia de Bitcoin. Venimos desde el 2022 hasta acá haciendo altos. ¿Qué pasa con un nuevo máximo? Tienes que hacer un nuevo mínimo. Ese nuevo mínimo muy probablemente venga más o menos por esta media en los 64. Algo así. Y después dar continuación. Algo así. Después dar continuación. Algo así. Después dar continuación. ¿Me entienden? Es lo que estamos viendo en la dominancia de Bitcoin. Acá todavía no se suscriban, o yo diría que yo personalmente no me voy a suscribir al movimiento de que alt season va a venir de la nada, porque una vez más necesitas liquidez extra en el sistema, así que no lo voy a hacer. Y la dominancia de Tether para todos nosotros está jugándola, pero perfectamente tal cual. Si eres alcista en Bitcoin, quieres ver poder romper la zona de los 5.11 y después llevarte esta línea meme que viene en vertical para abajo. Ahora, si eres alcista si eres muy bajista en Bitcoin, es lo que quieres ver. Y si eres alcista en Bitcoin, quieres llevarte este mínimo en los 4.38%, está jugándola todavía en medio. Y pueden ver acá más o menos esto. Y de este lado, esto es lo que está haciendo esta cosa. Jugando en un triángulo. Por supuesto, ¿cómo no? Porque si fuera fácil, todo el mundo lo haría. Ahora, el dólar está teniendo un rebote interesante, pero este rebote continúa ante todo esto. No le pondría mucha atención a este rebote todavía pensando que es parte de ya se acabó, pero voy a mantener un ojo ahí, ¿ok? Bien pelado. Y la razón por qué lo digo es, ya saben, tenemos este escenario que hemos estado dibujando por un rato en el dólar, donde cae y va a rebotar con un chingo de fuerza. Estamos buscando todo esto, aunque he visto a más y más pacos hacer videos del fin del dólar, incluyéndome a mí mismo en el canal de Emprendeduros, porque tengo que hablar de putas noticias, por desgracia, pero es lo que pasa. Ahí están, paqueando. Okay, sirs, we need to do Tesla, and then next we are, aside from Tesla, Superverse.
Yeah, I'll do Tesla.
Superverse, you said?
Yeah.
Superverse.
That's Elio's coin.
Oh, okay. Wow, Coinbase has it. I didn't know that. I thought it was just DeFi.
Well, what's DeFi anymore? Everything is everyone's coming out with their futures exchanges, and pretty much seems like everything we've been doing in the dark is becoming popular and legal.
I remember back when anything with the word DeFi would pump like crazy, and now anything with the word DeFi is considered a scam.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. That's
it should have been considered a scam from the beginning.
Oh my God.
It's not entirely a shitcoin, I guess. Oh wait, it is. They're all just shitcoins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what. Hang on.
Of the market.
That's what Kathy Wood came out and said. She was like, now that we're getting the stablecoin thing done, now for real, a lot of coins are going to disappear and never make a comeback. And I was like, God damn it, Kathy, why are you doing this to me? My thesis sounded so good. Why are you on the same side of this bed?
Never fun when those people are like, Capo is on the same side as you. You're like, ah. damn.
It
We just
puts
need
you,
Kathy to
it
start
makes you
getting
so
bearish.
fucking nervous. Say that again.
We need Kathy to start getting bearish.
That's never gonna happen.
If she gets bearish on Tesla and she sells at the bottom,
I know, but that's when she disappears. When she
and then we
sells,
see busting
fucks up and
action.
disappears. That's what we need. We need her to see disappear again for a few years.
And usually her selling doesn't even cause the price to jump anymore either. It just pumps in right from that point where she sells.
Well, yeah, because people know.
Like, oh, she sold, time to buy. So the quarterly on Tesla right now, we are sitting right at the 5 EMA, which is about $291. This is going to be our first level of support. It's right around that psychological number of $300 as well. For me, if you were to start getting even a daily close below about $290, I would signal that as a move to somewhere around the quarterly 9 EMA to the 38.2%, which is not really that much lower coming from crypto mindset. It's about $281 to $276, maybe to my meme line of around $271. But based on momentum, which is currently projecting the moving average, and it's currently starting to flip to the downside, hasn't confirmed it yet, but it would make more of a probability since we have lost the moving average that this 9 EMA does not hold, and we probably do go a little bit below it. But since we are in an uptrend right now on the quarterly, we have to close above this previous lower high. That I would expect somewhere around this quarterly open to hold as strong support. And this quarterly open right now is a little bit below that $270 area. It's sitting around $263. But even that, from where we are right now, it's enough to really scare traditional market people. Not really enough to scare crypto people. 9% of the downside. That's
well, let's not brag about the fact that we don't get scared because we're fucking retarded.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Like, not being scared is not a good thing.
Exactly. It's like, oh, look at all these bears. I don't even get scared anymore. And then you get eaten. That's what happens.
I just lose a lot of money. So why not? Why would I be scared? Like, and the boomers are like, cool flex, I guess. And there is somewhat of a bastardized Quasimodo inverse head and shoulders right here. But this would be the head. There's the shoulder. You just need really a close above this neckline, which is kind of like my meme line right here, around that 415 to that 38.2%. That would give us basically a move to our 50%, which is like $1,000 on the monthly. And the quarterly jewel is still giving us a buy signal, and we have several closures on it, confirming that buy signal. And the quarterly jewel is putting in hidden bullish divergence. The last time we had a buy signal on the quarterly jewel was when we had that 2,000% move. Monthly is currently pointed to the downside of momentum. With volatility currently expanding, we are currently putting in possible hidden bullish divergence on the monthly with the bullish jewel cross, the pink above the yellow, and it is happening below the bullish control zone. This would be the area to flip back around if we are going to be bullish, and that would correspond with us holding this 21 EMA on a monthly closing basis, and that is at right around that 270-ish dollar zone. And plus, we're going to be getting to very extreme areas on the HPDR, also increasing the probabilities of a bounce. Monthly momentum, no divergence. 2-week momentum is still pointed to the upside, with volatility getting very close to extreme lows. We have broken into the top 38.2%, telling us that we're very likely going to get a move down to the median. Which is our next level of support. Median lines up pretty nicely with our 55 EMA on the 2-week and this meme line. Right around that same 270. Let's go back to
that would be the easiest trade ever if it really goes back to the 270s and just holds there.
This is taking. I've used up my 2 GB high speed limit. Now it's gonna get fucky.
You try using some more of the unlimited data that you have at high speed.
Yeah, it's unlimited, but high speed is only capped at 2 GB a day. But it's unlimited.
That's fucking wild. It's taking for fucking ever. There you go.
All right, this would close at about. All right, so the trade idea you could take off of that is long at about $265, and then your stop loss would be at about, you can use this one at about $220. It's a little bit of a wide stop loss. Let's measure it, how much it is by percentage. About 16.5% versus if it does bounce here, you're likely going to go to that meme line, and that's about like 55%. So that's pretty good. I take that. You just probably want to watch the leverage. Weekly is now giving you a sell signal on the jewel, but you are very, very close to getting a bullish cross with that pink crossing above the yellow. That would lead into that would go along with the move down into a move up. Right now, the weekly is also pointed down the momentum, leading also going along with the short-term move to the downside. 5-day is getting volatility expansion, very likely also momentum to the downside if it would load. Yep, giving us similar targets of my meme line, lining up with the 100 EMA on the 5-day.
What a meme line. Love that meme
Beautiful
line.
meme line, love it, beautiful. 360. 2-day is now forming a nice bearish engulfing dildo. It will confirm with any close below $293 and $293.21, and that will give us targets of hitting that meme line around that 270 zone.
By the way, if you just
Actually,
remain clicking, like if you just press the mouse on under a candle or just like what you're measuring, it'll appear there with your. It's a new feature that they have.
wait, what do you mean? I don't understand.
Hang on, let me show you. Just real quick. See this chart? I'm gonna press on my mouse.
I don't see anything.
I see
It's
it.
black.
You don't see it?
No, for me the screen is black.
What? It's right here. So if you press and keep it pressed and move across candles, you can see a little menu that says open, high, low, with all the EMAs.
I'll send you a picture.
You see it, right, Alex?
Yeah, I see it. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's what I do.
Seems like they just
Because
did it today.
it was before, it was at the top, and you kind of had to like move your eyes. So that's nice. It's right there.
Yeah, it's still at the top. It's just in this form. It's easier. There you go, sir. Back to your screen. Thank God you didn't change it for any pornographic materials.
You got lucky there.
One time.
Now I'm starting to think we go a little bit below this meme line, to be honest, because the meme line lines right up at this wick low, and probably we're going to sweep this liquidity in this area. So probably going to go a little bit below that 265 area. I'd put that entry actually at about 258. It's only $7 off, so it's up to you if you want to be more precise or not, depending on how much leverage you're going to use. Right now, the 2-day momentum is also shifted to the downside. We are putting in possible bullish divergence on the 2-day because we are still haven't broke this low on momentum while price is making a lower low, but likely that possibility is going to disappear. It's going to come down to where momentum is whenever we're testing somewhere between that 258 and 265 area. If it's still putting that possible bullish divergence, then that's very very nice for the bulls, giving you a lot more probability of that bottom in that area. Daily is also flipped to the downside, getting very, very close to getting topped out on the momentum. It's at about like 85%. Likes to top out somewhere in the 90% area. We are making lower lows. What is the low on this? 316. So no possible divergences there. 4-hour currently does have a little bit of a gap to the upside with momentum getting very, very low. So it does make sense to get and we're hitting very extreme areas on the HPDR. So it does make sense to get a little bit of a bounce here. And we are getting a buy signal on the jewel. And that bounce would take us anywhere between this 200 SMA, which we have hit right now at about $286, and about somewhere between this 5 EMA and the 9 EMA, because we do have a fresh silver cross to the downside. And that would take you anywhere between about $296 towards about like $310. And anywhere around that zone would be, in my opinion, a gift to shorts. And your stop loss would be about this wick high right over here at about $331, and your TP is at about 270. So your risk is from 310, about 6.63%. And your TP is about 12%, 12.5%. So 2-to-1 odds, pretty good. Let's switch over to the RSI. One. Come on.
All right, I'm going to go for a run while this loads up. Be right back in 2 hours.
Quarterly still got active hidden bullish divergence. It's going to be active as long as you're closing over $214.25. And your next target on the divergence is the simple moving average, which right now is at about $505. And right now, if you notice, Tesla does like to respect this 21 EMA on the quarterly. If you notice, this last major low before we had serious busting action of 2,000% was off of that 21 EMA. Right over here, our 2022 bear market bottom was a deviation of the 2021 EMA, where we came back, deviated it again, and then we made a new all-time high. And right now, we are bouncing off that 21 EMA. And as long as this 9 EMA is holding on a quarterly basis, we do have to assume that this trend is going to continue to the upside. And have you noticed how much hate Elon has been getting recently because of his America Party from Tesla holders? Tells you something.
Everyone's fucking retarded. Everyone's absolutely fucking retarded. Everyone.
Yeah,
That's
literally.
it. That's my only opinion on people that haven't learned anything from seeing the same thing happen over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And nothing changes. It's incredible.
My
It's
only concern with this whole thing is that it's going to be a waste of time because third parties have never been successful in America.
It doesn't matter. Right? Like, so what if it's successful or not? It's not going to change what Tesla price is going to do. They're just using it so it can create more FUD and you can take advantage and buy more buy more Tesla shares for less money. So we'll take it.
Yeah.
There's no point. Like, it's so retarded that people are telling him what to do and what not to do. And by the way, at the end of the day, this is a narrative that he's building along them, right? Like, where he's like, look, the government cannot be trusted. The two-party system is the same, but my party is different. It'll be run on AI that I programmed alongside everyone else that does the system right now as is. Get the fuck out of here. All of them. We need, I just literally tweeted, it's been 100 years of the same shit. We need to get rid of all politicians. Period. It's unacceptable. They work for us. Those cocksuckers work for us. And they're making us poorer and they're committing crimes left and right. It's really simple. Let's all stop fighting and let's get rid of them. And we don't have to protest.
One of the few times France had the right idea was when they started cutting off their leaders' heads. I'm just saying.
Exactly. Go on, sir.
But they got a little wild and started cutting off anyone they didn't like. So we're getting a little divergent. On the 2 week, we have current active bearish divergence off of this high here, because we did make a lower high on the RSI, and that divergence is going to be active as long as you're closing below $357.54. You're already in the bearish control zone, so your next target is the critical zone, which is going to be impossible right now. Let's change the bearish control zone a little bit from we're at 33. Let's change it to the 30 and see what our next target would be to the downside. 38 to 30. It didn't change. Oh, no, it did. It changed to about $218. Not very relevant. And I'm saying not very relevant because it doesn't agree with my bias, by the way. Just to be all clear.
Very mature.
Full discretion. Come on. Come on. Nothing worse than slow internet. For the amount of money these people are charging, you would think they would have the internet installed before we even moved in.
Yep. But Mexico.
3 days got current hidden various divergence active after this last lower high. It is going to be active as long as you're closing below about $330, and your next move is going to be into the bearish control zone with volatility at almost extreme lows. And the bearish control zone right now sits at about $191, and this level is going to update. Right now, your first level of support is going to be your neutral zone, and that is at about $280, very close to my 270 level. So I'm going to choose to believe that neutral zone is going to hold. But if it doesn't, then you got another target of 181. Come on.
Oh, I want a double burger with an egg and bacon.
Burger without bread, though, right?
Well, yeah.
That sounds nice. Well, they go off the bacon.
Have that egg on top just fucking melting.
It's got to be
on,
runny.
the
It's
whole
got to be
burger.
yolk.
Absolutely.
I don't
let's
trust
do
people
that
who
as
don't
soon as
like
we're done.
yolks.
Yeah, those people are
Runny
fucking weird.
yolks.
It's just like it's just
Children.
like a little cum in your mouth. It's delicious.
It's more accurate chicken period in your mouth.
Oh, that is fucking absolutely terrible, sir.
Because they lay eggs whenever they're not pregnant.
Well, of course. Yeah.
So it's chicken period.
Forget about chicken tenders. Get your chicken periods right here. And just sell eggs on their chicken periods. That's amazing.
If more people knew that's what they were, I bet you less people would eat eggs.
Period egg.
Everyone's eating everyone's ass in this world. Everyone's shut the fuck up. The fuck out of here. When I see someone's like, I don't eat
I've
food
never
like
eaten
this.
anybody's ass.
Yeah, but I bet you're eating fucking your girlfriend's ass.
I've eaten coochie, but not ass.
I'm sure your tongue has skipped from here to there, and you might not want to accept it, sir, but it's happened.
So on the daily, we've got active.
We are statistical men. It has happened statistically. If you do eat coochie,
right? Exactly. So I'm sorry, on the daily.
I have no comment. On the daily,
Anyway.
we've got active bullish divergence on Tesla, and that divergence is going to be active as long as we are closing above about $293, which we are slightly below right now. And we have hit the easy target off of that divergence, which is the neutral zone. Our next target off of divergence, if we do continue to see move to the upside, which we're going to have to see a daily close over about 296, is going to be that $310 area. And that does give us a retest of our daily 100 EMA and all of this cluster of EMAs. Right now, day of volatility is starting to expand on the daily with this move to the downside. Right now, we do have bullish divergence with the volatility expansion. That's why stocks are a little bit weird because of the closes and the opens on Mondays, because we did open with a gap to the downside. So right now it is a little weird with that bullish divergence and the volatility expansion. The jewel makes it a little bit more clear whenever you see that the pink is still below the yellow and the dark blue is now crossing into the bearish control zone. And we are getting a lower low on the jewel, but still technically a higher low on the price action. So you still got a bullish divergence on the jewel as well as the RSI, giving more of a probability that we'll get that move into that 310 area. 310 would be a nice short. Come on. Just remember though, if you short Tesla, Elon hates you.
He's gonna shadow ban you on X just like he did with me for saying that he's fucking spying on people with Palantir. The worst move I've done in my life.
Did you get shadow banned?
Oh, instantly my views went from like 30,000 views to like 2,000 views per tweet instantly. Yeah,
It's a free speech platform.
Yeah, of course it is. Definitely, there's free speech in this country.
Oh yeah, absolutely. On the 4-hour, we're getting a fresh silver cross to the downside. Right now, we are still getting rejection of that 200 SMA. Once you can start to get a closure over that 200 SMA, same number of about 296 as we looked at before, that's what activates your move into that 310 area, which is just a retest of the silver cross. Beautiful, beautiful short. You gotta take this, and your stop loss is at that 331 area. The risk reward is amazing. You don't usually get setups that great on stocks, and volatility is now starting to expand.
It's a nice little play that we can do on BTCC.
Yep, that's a short into a long. Come on. Come on. Sometime today. Hmm. There we go. Oh, very interesting. That 270 area is also with my meme line at the 9 EMA is also 38.2%. The shallow fib. Very interesting. This is the level that tends to hold if we are in a bullish trend. Right now, quarterly momentum is freshly flipping to the upside, rejecting the bearish control zone, and it is going to be flipped up as long as you're closing over about $211.50. Come on. Monthly is currently flipped down. Hopium is that volatility is contracting, and you are projected within the next probably on this next close, we are going to be at the edge of the bearish control zone. At that area, this pivot should drop significantly. If it doesn't, then that tells us that we are going to break down, and we're very likely not going to hold that 270 area. Probably going to go to 190 if this pivot doesn't change.
That's music to my ears.
Gonna come down to that monthly close, or unless we break out before the monthly close.
Mm.
Come on. 2 week is now already starting to flip up. Same idea that I'm getting on the monthly. The 2 weeks is a little bit of a faster time frame, so the idea happens out a little bit faster. Right now, 2 week is going to be flipped up as long as you're closing over about $279. And if you can get a close over about $13, you very likely will get that volatility expansion on the 2 week. Either close over 213, let's say $214, or take above 357. That's what either one of those will likely cause your volatility to start expanding.
Mm.
Weekly held this meme line on a close, then opened up with the gap down below it.
That's a big head and shoulders.
Yep. And weekly is currently freshly flipped to the downside with a derp of death. And we're going to be pointing down below 314.50. You can't not take that short at 310 if the weekly momentum is down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. The weekly momentum pivot was 314.50, right?
314, yes, sir.
Yeah, lines up with that bearish retest of the 310s.
Come on. Just give it to me.
It's written in the stars.
The
Bearish
Jewish
retest
stars or the
310?
regular stars?
No comment.
I love that, by the way. I love that now it's mainstream narrative to blame the Jews for everything. That's when you know, like, sadly for everyone, that means that's wrong.
Come on.
You don't have people come over and then they get drunk and they're like, "Can I tell you what I think is destroying everything?" And you're like, "Yeah, tell me." The Jews. Every time.
I've never had that happen before.
What? Every fucking person that shows up in my house tells me that. Everyone.
Never
And
once.
by the way, not people that I talk to about anything, because I have nothing to say about that. But everyone shows up. It's like, can I tell you what it is? It's the Jews.
I guess it might be a California thing.
It could be more of an actual United States thing.
Or maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Haven't heard much of that in Mexico.
Yeah, because they don't care. I grew up in a Lebanese family, and those guys fucking hated the Jews with
Oh
a
yeah,
passion.
that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. A little ironic nowadays to see protesting in Mexico about people not assimilating into their culture and making the prices go up.
You know that's also the U.S., but like the U.S. runs Mexico, and they're doing the same type of Mexico against America. Like, dude, when there was immigration protest, it was just like Mexican flags. There must be no other immigrants in this country. Crazy, huh? Just the Mexicans. And,
That's a good point.
Yeah, dude, it's so stupid.
Wow.
And then I just had someone tweet at me, and they go, "It's incredible how Americans love Chinese immigrants and fucking Persian immigrants and every other immigrant except Mexicans." I'm like, yeah, this is why Americans travel to Mexico all the time and they live in Mexico, and why Mexicans live in the U.S. They absolutely hate each other. Please continue to watch the news. Please, I beg you.
That's why Mexico is America's biggest trading partner.
Yeah, dude, fucking retarded. There's America owns Mexico. It's obvious, but and they run that shit. But I still can't figure out why in Mexico they're doing it because they're literally passing bills that allows them to spy on everyone, and everyone's too busy thinking that housing prices are going up because of the Americans. There was a gentrification episode on South Park in 2015, season 19, episode 3. It's called
with that weird ass name for the modern living thing.
Yeah. Soda Suppa.
Wait, which episode is
it?
Yeah.
I believe it's season 19, episode 3. It's supposed to be released in 2015.
They have like a Whole Foods and everything.
Yeah, and they blame rich people and billionaires for doing it. So this happens everywhere. Like, this is what I was saying, dude. A house that I bought in LA, like in the flats, I paid $2 million for it. They're $5.2 million right now. Like, this happens everywhere. People are just retarded.
Yeah,
like, what they should be mad at is inflation. That's what everyone should be mad at. And there's just one responsible party for that. Politicians, but everyone's too busy blaming each other.
Or at the very least, blame your fellow Mexicans who are the ones renting out the properties and selling the houses.
Well, that's what they're doing in Mexico. They're making it a class thing. So it turned into you guys, because some other people and a friend of mine that is also like he's a massive influencer, went out there and people just started yelling at him for no reason. It's like, so now, do you hate rich people or the gringos? What is, like, let's get together, right? Like, let's figure this out. It's just so stupid. People need to stop watching we should also go after the news people. That's crazy what they do to people.
Yeah, it is.
Crazy. So basically, everywhere in the world, people are starting to just hate anyone that has money.
Well, yeah, it's what they're doing on purpose. They're hating everyone on everything. Anything that you have, they'll use to exploit so that you can hate everyone, and you not realize the simplest thing. We need to get rid of those guys that are in charge doing this. And we can do it pacifically. We can just sign a petition with I don't know how many billion people. We can start there. And if they don't like it, then we can talk about other options. But we can start like in a simple, because this is ridiculous, dude. Nothing has changed in 100 years. You guys have been alive for very little. I've seen the same shit happen over and over and over, and you get tired. And what now? It's more evident than ever that they're putting us against each other. Fuck them. We should fuck them out of there because they don't do anything. How many times can the Federal Reserve make a mistake and still be hired? Unless they're doing it on purpose. Let's get rid of them. And I don't think we're asking for too much. It's not working. You guys have completely destroyed everything. California used to be so fucking cool like 15 years ago, dude. It's a shithole now. It's crazy.
Yeah,
and the same.
I used to want I used to dream about living in LA. I was like, damn, I would love to live here. It looks so amazing. Now I'm like, I'd rather not live in California.
You want to live where I live. This shit's fucking nice. It's the only place.
Thinking about it.
That is the only place I'd live. Right around where you live.
Just for a small amount extra a month, you can move out here and live in a first world with actual cops, Asian neighbors. They know karate, so it's safe. Like, come on. What else do you want? And everyone drives an electric car, so you wake up in the morning hearing as they move them and they take their little Asian kids to school. Just saying. Go on. I'm sorry, sir. Get distracted.
Drew another little meme line. This represents a very significant resistance right over here. We rejected it right at this point around, rejected it again, rejected it, and then we broke out. When we broke down, we rejected it, we lost it, rejected it, broke down. We rejected it, and as of right now, this area is still rejection. It's giving us our move to the downside. And on the weekly, we are going to be pointed down with a grip of death as long as we are closing below $314. Another point of confluence for that $310 zone. 5 days. 5 days also lost the mean line. And this shit is so dirty how it doesn't give you the closure below it. It gives you an open heavily below. 5 days also pointed down with a derp of death as long as you're closing below $341. That one's very high. Mm. 2 days also getting a rejection of the meme line with expansion down. 2 days just now starting, actually it was getting volatility expansion. Now it's once again shifting down into a contraction, and momentum is shifted down as long as you're closing over below $320.50 and you're rejecting the bullish control zone. We'll give you targets of that $265 region with the 200 slowly rising to meet it. Daily is currently getting volatility expansion from 2 periods of 0%, and you're now sitting at 26%. Let's get momentum. Come on. I do think it's going to be positioned to the downside. Yep. And we are currently pointed down as long as we are closing below 327.50. This one's probably going to be up. Come on. Yep, 4 hour is currently positioned to the upside. Just now going into a expansion phase on volatility, getting over the moving average. I haven't closed above it yet, so I haven't confirmed. And we are going to be pointed up as long as we're closing over. Where's the pivot? This one's the pivot.
Where is el pivote?
It's going to be pivoted up as long as we're closing over $293.50. Let's go into the quarterly now, high time frames. All right. So the quarterly is freshly flipping to the upside, rejecting the bearish control zone and putting in hidden bullish divergence, which is confirmed. And we quarterly is in an uptrend now, closing over our previous major lower high before we got that breakdown. We are getting a reclaim of our quarterly 9 EMA and our 5 EMA. And as of right now, I am expecting a overall macro move to the downside to hit that quarterly median, which is sitting somewhere around $265. Also hitting my meme line of around $265. Based off of the low time frames, which are getting volatility expansion now, the 4 hour and momentum to the upside, it does look like we are going to get a short-term move up to tap somewhere around that $310 zone, which I do think is going to reject based off of the higher time frame bearish divergences, and I do think we are going to hit somewhere around that quarterly median, around $265 to $270. Based off the quarterly trend, though, and the bullish divergences, I do think that 265 to 270 area is going to hold. and I would look for a long from there into somewhere around $400 to $415. Right now, on the short term, I would be looking for a short around $310 with a stop loss of about $335, and the first take profit at somewhere around $275. And then the second one, if we'd get a daily close below $260, or let's say $250 to be safe, there's a very, very high probability from there we are going to hit the next bearish divergence target, which is around $195, which would be TP2. And then from there, you wouldn't necessarily close the short until it's been stopped out, but at around that $270 to $265 area, you would open another long, and your stop loss would be let me make sure. Your stop loss would be, let's use this one to be safe, about $220. So you'd want to use lower leverage on this one. And then your first TP from that 220, that 270 area is going to be $300. So that round psychological level. And then your next level above there is going to be that $415 area. And then your next level above there is going to be about $500. And the invalidation on the overall macro picture is either getting a tick below about $214 or getting a weekly close below about $270. If either one of those two things happen, then it's likely going to roll over, although I don't think that's going to happen. I do think the macro trend on the quarterly is going to take over, and we're likely going to go to all-time highs from there.
Yeah. Also, can I add a little extra sauce to your analysis?
Yes, sir.
Just with some extra ingredients. You know how they made people buy cars with the pre-tariff thing? And I don't know if you guys, if you saw the other video I sent you where the guy's like, well, everyone bought cars then and he was crazy. And now no one is buying cars. So now all of that is going to go towards EVs because everyone knows that on September 30th, the EV credits get canceled and the cars are going to go up in price. So right now what they're doing is they're pushing people to go buy an EV before September 30th. So their third quarter numbers should be fucking monstrous, like insane. So something to keep in mind that goes along with your analysis. So before that move, they're probably going to shake out people and then do it. Yeah, that's what I would guess.
Makes sense.
So there you have it. Some extra conspiracy theories on the table for you that just talk about financials. All righty. Thank you, sir. That was phenomenal. Ok, estamos viendo Tesla trimestral, damas y caballeros. Podemos ver, estamos cotizando en 293 después de que Elon Musk anunció ese hijo de puta que abre un nuevo partido político. Todo el mundo se pone como loco. Ok, ¿qué estamos viendo en Tesla en estos momentos? Se me hace importante como empresa y que lo sepan en México, porque a veces, o en cualquier otra parte del mundo, en Estados Unidos es bastante obvio, si es que te acuerdas de lo que pasó hace una semana, y fue... En el primer trimestre nos dijeron que importáramos, que compráramos todo para nuestros negocios. Y también nos dijeron que fuéramos a comprar coches antes de que subieran de precio. Los coches nunca subieron de precio. Pero bien, todo el mundo fue a comprar coches. Ahora, este cuarto que sigue, que abrió el tercer cuarto del año, abrió con literalmente nadie está comprando coches. Nadie. Y es justamente, les voy a enseñar ese video después de esto. Nadie está comprando, o sea, nadie está comprando nada. Nada, pero pongámoslo en el mundo de los coches. ¿Y qué es lo que pasa? Pasan el Big Beautiful Bill y ahí ponen que van a quitar los incentivos federales de los coches eléctricos, lo que quiere decir que los precios van a subir. Esto me hace pensar, por cierto, que probablemente lo cancelen cuando llegue esa fecha. Me gustaría ver eso. Ahora, esto es completa especulación y no me interesa un punto o el otro. Lo que sí es, lo que están haciendo ahora es diciéndole a todo el mundo que vaya a comprar tu coche eléctrico antes de septiembre 30, que es cuando literalmente quitan el incentivo. ¿Qué quiere decir eso? Que por ahora la narrativa es negativa. La narrativa es, no, ya van a dejar de tener incentivos, se va a ir todo al pito. Y luego va a salir los números del tercer cuarto y eso es algo bastante posible en Tesla. ¿Ok? Simplemente quiero que lo tengan en mente porque esas tácticas funcionan muy bien. Ahora ya lo vimos en tiempo real con lo de los aranceles y los coches subiendo de precio. Vale. Ok, en la trimestral tenemos Tesla con el rechazo de la media después de haberla perdido justamente acá. solamente la había ganado por 2 trimestres. El primero en julio y el segundo fue el de octubre del 2024 y después volvimos a caer por debajo de la media. Ahora, la venimos a retestear en esta vela y ahora ni siquiera estamos retesteando. Estamos a punto de aguantar la parte baja de la zona azul. La parte baja de la zona azul está en los 281 dólares. Y el promedio del 9 se encuentra justamente junto a mi línea meme verde que ves por acá en los 267 dólares. Aquí es donde esperaríamos que Tesla encuentre fondo antes de dar el siguiente rebote. De perder esta zona, esto nosotros diríamos probablemente no va a jugar y podríamos ir hasta justamente donde está pasando esta línea meme en los 190 a más o menos 200 dólares, que es lo que personalmente esperaría, me encantaría ver, pero vamos a ver. Porque lo que tiene cara es que simplemente va a ser plup, plup, para arriba y ir a retestear la parte alta de la zona azul en los 440. Es la trimestral. Volatilidad está contrayendo, pero momentum está apuntando para arriba en esta temporalidad. Vámonos a la mensual. Mensual, ven dónde estamos en Tesla. La parte del 95% está en los 250, lo que nos dice todavía más que tenemos más probabilidades de poder aguantar más o menos entre el 88.3% y el 95%, que son los 260. Una vez más, trayendo más confluencia al gran análisis de Farhan de poder encontrar un suelo acá antes de rebotar. Si nos llevamos los 260, el 34 para abajo, no usamos ¿cómo se llama? El 55, usaríamos nuestro promedio del 100, que va a venir más o menos a esta zona. Está en 183. Entonces, entre 183 y 195 sería el siguiente objetivo si nos llevamos los 260 para abajo. ¿Ok? En cierres importantes. 2 semanas, venimos de este alto histórico, luego tenemos estos altos más bajos y ahora estaríamos formando después de altos el nuevo bajo más bajo. Este bajo más bajo puede venir justamente en esta zona divina de perder los 287, vas a saber que sí. Aquí justamente donde está la media, mi línea meme y el promedio del 55. Cuando ve este tipo de confluencias, yo esperaría que el movimiento se detenga ahí y continúe a la alza. Ahora, si llega a venir a los 240 en movimientos rápidos y después se repunta a la alza, no me sorprendería porque sería bastante predatorio. Te haría pensar que te vas a llevar estos mínimos en los 214 y que todo se va a ir al nepe y esta sería como la última opción para eso. Volatilidad contrayendo y volatilidad contrayendo también en la semanal. Ahora, semanal, tienes el rechazo de la parte baja de la zona azul y estás cayendo hasta la zona del 61.8%. Siempre y cuando estés debajo del promedio del 55 en los 293, tienes más probabilidades de ir a la parte baja de los 279 que a la parte alta en los 299. Pero ahorita les voy a enseñar en una temporalidad más corta cómo tenemos bastantes probabilidades de ir ahí. Y también otra cosa que vale la pena notar es nuestro promedio del 100, que fue justamente la zona importante a romper a la alza, está en los 272 y ya saben que nos gusta regresar a esas zonas para después hacer nuestro movimiento potente. Diaria, pueden ver que el movimiento está cansado por acá, que llegamos al 88.3%, aunque Tesla le gusta llegar al 97%. Lo que nosotros estamos viendo justamente acá es este rebote con esta volatilidad expandiendo y lo que creemos que vamos a ver es literalmente aquí a 300 y para abajo o a 310, 314, tal vez hasta 318 y para abajo. Esta sería una oportunidad grande para esto antes del movimiento darse para abajo. ¿Me entienden? Entonces voy a poner esto sencillo, sin tantos colores, de sabores y rumores. Ahí les va. Tesla en estos momentos está justamente aquí. Lo que nosotros pensamos va a ser es una de 2 escenarios. Uno, llegar aquí a los 300 y después ir a buscar su fondo local acá para después dar su movimiento alcista. Una vez más, este tipo de consolidación es alcista, cuando va para abajo la bandera, tal cual como lo están viendo ahí. Si junto estas dos es la banderita, ¿no? Ese sería el primer escenario. El segundo escenario sería que rebotemos hasta acá, a los 300 o a más o menos esta zona donde están todo el clúster de EMAs. Ahí nos rechace, vayamos a los 260, 270 y acá encontremos el siguiente. Aquí va a haber 2 trades. Aquí tienes el corto y aquí tienes el long. Así que No me metería yo en long a ver si va a llegar acá, porque de nuevo te puede cortar en los 2.99 e irse para abajo, porque además el poner esta línea meme, yo sé que son líneas memes a fin de cuenta, pero cuando tienes un breakdown de algo, vienes, retesteas y luego bajas. Así que no te vayas con la idea de que a huevo tiene que venir hasta acá arriba, aunque los 311 suenan bastante factibles, posibles. Déjame ver la de 4 horas. 4 horas, 8 de la mañana con volatilidad expandiendo. Sí, lo que nos dice el S&P 200 también está acá, lo estamos perdiendo. Vamos a ver si lo podemos recuperar rápido. Vieron que esta fue una rápida recuperación del de 4 horas y eso los llevó a dar ese pompazo. Acá tienes un cruce plateado a la baja y además tienes tienes el promedio del 9 justamente en los 311. Puta madre, agregando confluencia al escenario del retesteo del promedio del 9 y luego para abajo por este cruce plateado de acá. Así que Tesla, por ahora, sigue siendo alcista en altas temporalidades, pero en todo lo que se refiere temporalidades bajas, tenemos que dar un ajustito, que de nuevo no es nada, ¿no? Continúas haciendo altos más altos, etcétera. No te pierdas en la salsa. No le pongas mucha crema a tus tacos, puto, unos tacos. Solamente enfócate en los movimientos que va a dar ahorita. Te va a tirar tantito. Y ahora, también lo que yo digo es, ¿por qué no va a ser un movimiento que yo le daría más probabilidad de irse hasta el piso? Es en la semanal tienes tu promedio del 100 acá y la otra cosa es, están sacando todas estas noticias negativas de Elon, de su partido político y él mismo también. Normalmente cuando eso pasa y estás cayendo en precio, es para darte una oportunidad de compra en el lado largo. Cuando te están diciendo que todo está de huevos y deberías de comprar porque viene el cybercap, bla, 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 ¿qué es lo que te hacen? Te tiran el precio. ¿Me entiendes? Buenas noticias, cuando la narrativa es buena, tienes más probabilidades de ir para abajo que cuando la narrativa es mala en Tesla. Y es así como yo la juego. All right, sir, we're ready for your bullshit.
All right, perfect. Let's check out Super. So I'm going to look first at the Bitcoin pairing because this is, the most important chart. And it's very simple. This chart, and you're going to see this too with the Tether pairing, excuse me, it's often just in a range, really, range and breakdown. Whenever you lose support, you just go to the next area, and then it's just, are we going to get the bounce or fall through that? And with the Bitcoin pairing on the weekly, it's very evident that this is bearish. The moment you lost the weekly 9 here, you just simply have stayed under it. Let's see here. This lost it in December of 2024. You got the reclaim April 2025, so just weeks under it. Then you finally got to move up some life on this chart, only to just get rejected from the 21. And now again, you're just right back under the weekly 9. What you're noticing here is, you're kind of in head and shoulders formation on the weekly.
And by the way, you have that one and you have the huge one if you zoom out. Hang on. Why is your chart different than mine? Oh, because you're looking at at the Bitcoin pair. I am so sorry. You're totally right in there. My bad.
No.
1 second.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. Let me just quickly show you.
Yeah, let me see that.
Fucking
that's good
shoulder, head, shoulder. What? That's so fucking bearish. Sorry.
Oh, black screen. No, it's okay. So yeah, I mean that's it's bearish. And the weekly, yes, you got the bounce after the loss of support. I mean, like you can draw another meme line, of course, like down here, but it's like once you lose this line, which is right at 516, it's simply just going to be kind of a dead chart, in my opinion. You can go to the monthly now. And this is just simply in a bear market, clinging on to a cliff. Yes, you've hit support a few times. So if you end up coming back down, this will be the 4th time it's been hit. Not going to really be confident that's going to hold. We've hit that 1, 2, 3. And then on the 4th one, you did break down. Cool was like, a trap, SFP, reclaim, squeezes up, hits the 9, where you break down. Let's see how big of a move this was from support. Yeah, that's insane, 54%. So it's like then at minimum, it's going to just go down to here. I mean, you can just have this within a range. But yeah, I mean, this will just go down to the low. That just makes sense. Not a good chart. And this is the Bitcoin pairing, right? So this is like more important than even the Tether pairing, because this is what's going to show you the strength on when Bitcoin's weak, if this is going to hold up, or if this is really going to dump when Bitcoin's rolling over and or pumping with Bitcoin. You also are in an easy monthly downtrend, consistent lower highs and lower lows. And what you have here is potentially just another lower high. That has implications for this region here. Because if we start breaking down, the implication will be that this low is going to get taken out, and that's going to be your lower low. Okay, perfect. Okay, Resist. I think, yeah, okay. That was the mechanic people, the repair people. Yeah. So, it's actually, yeah, I don't even know what he said. I think he said he's going to come back.
All right.
Yeah. So, this has implications. The quarterly's in a downtrend. So then if we're at the cliff here, hanging on to support, yes, but we've already hit that multiple times as shown. Then, we really need to understand that once you break this 516, nothing but air until this low. And once you break that, that's your, quarterly lower low. So this is just the opposite of strength. And that's why I wanted to start with the Bitcoin pairing, because, it's like, yes, it's holding support, but you're just within a range. It's like the 5 days even in a downtrend. And this is potentially the next lower high. You see here that this did deviate the 5-day EMA 9. So the rally up made sense. It actually perfectly rejected. And so now, again, just nothing but air at this point. Minimum, you should test 516 again. But as I said, that just, the more times you're hitting support, the weaker it's becoming. We're talking about a 13% move from support as well. Not very bullish. Markets as a whole, too, Bitcoin is in a very precarious spot where it could really roll over. If Bitcoin, let's say, does end up getting that 30% drawdown, which always happens in bull markets, nothing wrong with that. Specifically, if you test that weekly EMA 100, you do have to wonder then what will that mean for this chart? I mean, this is just actively in a bear market and on a macro downtrend. So the hopium on the daily now is the daily EMA 9 will hold. You need simply yesterday's high to get taken out. If that can occur, we want that to just get flipped into support. That then can just give you the move up to the daily EMA 100. That should be the short squeeze zone, meaning, the EMA 34 has been the easy short trade. If you start really getting back above yesterday's high, holding it, you can easily squeeze up to the EMA 100. Often is the extremity high. From this point, it's a
weekly 9.
Yeah, that's right here too, which has been rejecting, right? We're under it, has been rejecting. So the daily EMA 100 at least is an easy gauge if you really do start squeezing up. But then as well, in confluence with the weekly 9, just the chart doesn't want to load, I guess.
God damn.
Of course. Let's see here. Anytime. So we'll look at the Tether pairing after this, but yeah, I mean, this chart's just really not looking good. I can even see too, I'm sure it has a silver cross.
Yeah, to the downside.
Yeah. Which again, just gives you more confluence then of that. If the daily EMA 100 gets tested, the weekly EMA 9 gets tested, you really then could gauge that as a silver cross retest. Let's see. No. All right, it should actually, yeah, 100. Where's the 55? There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, so here it is. We can even go maybe more dirty. Let's check the 2-week. Yeah, so you even have a 2-week silver cross, which is actually a lot cleaner. It kind of cancels out the chop, right? So it makes sense. It's like, where's this 2-week EMA 9? 680. Okay. Where's the daily EMA 100? gosh. Yeah, I'm very excited to get this Wi-Fi fixed. Hopefully by this will be the last day off
As you say that and disappear.
to stream
Into
on my
Wi-Fi
hotspot.
oblivion. There you are.
Yeah, let's just do this.
Super Bitcoin. You're gonna get some of those Bitcoiners fucking harder than trigonometry, dude.
Yeah.
Super Bitcoin. I just bought the
Super
regular
Bitcoin.
version.
I think Saylor was talking about more holding Bitcoin and implying he's not going to buy some this quarter. He made
Oh,
some
Sailor, yeah. Which makes
Yeah.
me bullish, by the way. Because
Yeah,
why
that
is he telling everyone, by the way, I'm not buying. Normally when he buys, it's at the top and he drops after he announces it. So I hate everyone.
And that is true. Like that was very relevant during the bear market. Whenever he'd buy, it would just mark a top. And then you notice during the bull, at least, it really did end up being like when he'd buy after, I noticed at least like a few days, we'd end up pumping. Granted, were in a bull market. He was just buying, but so yeah, that was
But he was
interesting.
buying the local top, which was weird.
Yeah, and he was though. Yeah, we'd always get a drawdown when he buys, always.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just not going to work. I'll go down to the business center if not, which should have good Wi-Fi, hopefully.
I mean,
think also,
I got your idea on this one. I can finish
yeah, I
your
mean,
super bad if you will.
Yeah, like it's very simple. That's the Bitcoin pairing. Very weak. Gauge the 2-week silver cross. The daily EMA 100 right around the 2-week EMA 9. If you end up reclaiming the daily EMA 100, which is a big point for this chart because you ended up rejecting that massively last time you hit it. So it's very big resistance. Yeah, you're going to get a big move up to the estimate 200 where that's the absolute extremity high. This will end up rejecting you. And if you reclaim this, then yeah, this will be a shift of structure. So in that sense, you should be gauging that as a major rejection point. Let's see here if the crypto gods can let me look at this chart. Now loading. Sweet. We've been blessed. So, if we end up getting a pullback here, what would we be gauging? Well, we understand support's at 55 cents. I'd like to see support get hit. So if you end up, let's say rejecting the daily EMA 100, for me, you should be looking then at the daily 9, which we're there. If you end up losing this zone, yeah, I do think we can end up testing the meme line. You're even noticing if you want to get, memes with it, getting a little channel here. Oh, 1 second. I guess that's my doorbell.
Wow. How fancy. Hang on. Just 1 second, everyone. Un segundo. Que acaba de llegar alguien a la puerta. Esperemos no sea el FBI. Güey, no es el FBI. ¿Cómo es que son los Fave Boobs Inspectors?
Nice. Yeah, sorry about that.
No, don't worry.
Very versatile stream today. The point being though is that you're getting a volatility setup. So you're gonna see, something here soon. With my bias on Bitcoin being down, I have to then gauge this with trend, which is down. So therefore this should break down. Once you lose the daily 9, right? You see that it's just good confluence of, yeah, you're gonna end up getting that breakdown target to like 55 cents for me. There that should hold. So then there you want to look at that as like a throwback of the breakout. So reclaim, ideally this holds. Again, confirmation of a nice move up if the daily EMA 100 gets reclaimed. That'll be very crucial for this chart. But this is very weak. So that's the daily. We can go to the weekly. Yeah, you even, on Tether, have a weekly silver cross. And you're in a weekly downtrend. So this is kind of the objective for bulls, which is June 9th high. This was kind of like a liquidity grab. Front ran to weekly EMA 100. You see here, we did reclaim that EMA 9 on this weekly, so we ideally want that to hold. If that starts getting lost, it's just going to, again, be good confluence that this is going to break down to that, 5519 target. Yeah, and even, this isn't a bear market, and the monthly is just solidly in a downtrend. Really a very ugly chart. There's many different, there's a lot better things you could be playing than this, because this just looks like on the verge of a breakdown, in my opinion. I'm not really convinced 5519 will hold, and even this 2-week kind of ties it up nicely. It's like, if you end up losing this 2-week median, you're gonna end up coming down to like 36 cents. And at that point, it's like, are we just gonna retest 30 cents? A nice psychological number. Why do I even have that dotted line? Oh, this is the Tether pairing, yeah. And then, you lose 30 cents, just dead, just dead. And you can even see this is just a dead chart. You lost that, you rejected. This just literally died and then consolidated for 532 days. So, not fun. The EMA 100 is rejecting, big zone here. So again, confluence of that 668 level. We saw that here right around the daily EMA 100. So overall, I mean, you're just kind of gauging this to break down. I'd be watching daily BBWP. You are in a macro downtrend. This is technically in a bear market. So I'd be very cautious if you're longing this. No reason to have FOMO on this chart. It's a very volatile chart. So if you end up squeezing, reclaiming these levels, cool. We can like easily long it up to like 98 cents. But until then, you should be playing the trend, which is always your friend. And that is down. I mean, you just have consistent lower highs. And you're even forming like a little channel here with BBWP contracted, telling me that, you're towards the end of this. This is going to break down, actually, even maybe tomorrow, today, which again is kind of tied in nicely with my Bitcoin idea, which is, we're at resistance. I'm expecting this 5-day to turn ugly, which means this week we kind of do have to dump. So I'd just be very cautious if you're longing specifically super, because, the Bitcoin pairing is very weak. And if Bitcoin ends up having that pullback, well, this will end up dying. And, that's just really actually how it goes. They'll just dump 50%, then another 30%, 50%, and then consolidate for 532 days like it did. So yeah, not fun. Many different things that are better to put your money in than this chart. Terrible.
There you go. There's absolutely, as you say, many, many, many other things you can fucking put your money into and have more fun too at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
All righty. So next
my screen's black.
We got rubbing the hood. That I think it's your internet problem, sir, because everything is working perfectly fine.
Yeah.
We have hood and then afterwards CHE, which I don't know what the fuck that is.
I'll do hood.
Alrighty. Vale. Estamos viendo Superverse.
Med Corp. CHE.
There you go.
Yeah.
No clue what that is, but
yeah, same.
Estamos viendo Robinhood, damas y caballeros, en la semana, Robinhood, estamos viendo en Superverse, en la semanal. Ahora, esta tabla salió literalmente en el diciembre del 2021, lleva nada de tiempo, desde entonces había caído, se parecía mucho como a la tabla de Rivian, ¿no? Que cayó y luego empezó a pompear y a hacer estos movimientos. Y ahora, ¿estamos dónde? Estamos literalmente acá. Tenemos un cruce plateado a la baja. En la semanal tenemos lo que parece ser bajos más altos, pero en realidad estás teniendo altos más bajos, ¿no? Lo pueden ver acá. Y esto es un hombro, cabeza, hombro. El objetivo es negativo. Así que si llegas a romper estos mínimos de acá, esta madre se va a ir una vez más a estos niveles, al punto 0.7. Está cotizando en punto 643 y está siendo rechazado el promedio del 9. ¿Quieres ser alcista? en esta deliciosa tabla, vas a simplemente, para no hacerte el cuento largo, ¿no? Lo único que tienes que hacer es treparte acá y mantener, empezar a consolidar, romper estos máximos. Es para los alcistas. ¿Quieres ser bajista? Fácil, ya eres. Lo único que necesitas es un retesteo del promedio del 100 y continuar cayendo para hacer un alto más bajo por acá y después dar continuación a la caída. Vamos a analizar un poco más. 2 semanas también. No, pero 2 semanas, atentos. Aquí lo padre de la de 2 semanas es que va a dictar algo. Va a darnos un cero de volatilidad del punto más bajo en la tabla en toda la historia. Ya está en 18%. Y tienes el promedio del 21 y el 55 tuvieron un cruce plateado aquí a la alza. Bien, te dio este movimiento tan potente, ¿no? Hasta acá. Ahora, lo que estamos viendo ahorita es este 21 y 55 se cruzan. Tienes que apostar literalmente toda la casa en contra del promedio del 9, que es el azul que viene por acá. Ahí. ¿Por qué? Ahora, estamos por encima, estamos abajititito del promedio del 9 en estos momentos. No lo pueden notar, pero se ve aquí a la derecha cuando ves el azul por encima del rojo, está por encima. Este podría ser el rechazo, pero normalmente cuando ves que esto baja, va a tener otra oportunidad de subir al promedio del 9 y luego rechazar oficialmente. Además de que tu volatilidad del 18% te va a dar todo el setup que necesitas. Déjame ver si en el 5 días me lo está contando más fácil. 5 días, ahí está. Tal cual, otra vez. Tienes justamente tu promedio del 100, justamente aquí arriba en el punto 79, casi punto 80, y estás ante el promedio del 9. Lo que tiene cara es que el 21, porque acá tienes un cruce plateado, te está rechazando y muy probablemente vaya a seguir rechazándote. Lo que yo diría que quieres si eres bajista, perder el S&P 200 en la de 5 días, eso te ayudaría a llegar a tu objetivo más rápido. Diaria. Diaria también tiene volatilidad ya en abajo del promedio, abajo el 15%, perdón, y también por debajo del promedio. 15% está acá. Esta lo voy a hacer plana. Ahora, esto, cuando dispare, es donde tienes que ver para dónde está apuntando. Otra cosa que me hace pensar que vamos a regresar a esta zona es el S&P 200. Todas las cosas que hay aquí y de ahí dar el siguiente rechazo. Sabemos que estamos mal si nos llevamos este máximo que está acá, que lo puedo poner así para que lo vean. Ay, estaba en punto 94,600. Si te llevas punto 94,600 para arriba, cambias la tendencia. Si estás por debajo de ahí y te continúa rechazando todo, pues bajista, tío, que tiene cara completamente bajista. Esto tiene cara que se va a ir a muy bajo, muy, muy bajo, muy, muy bajo. Y va con todas las altcoins, ¿eh? No creas que esto es personal. Ve esto. Esto es diciembre, esto es mayo, esto es hoy. Ve Solana. Esto es enero, esto es mayo, esto es hoy. De nuevo, no hay out season, cabrones. Así que no vengan con esas mamadas porque no es cierto. Vale, es lo que es súper. Vámonos con, what do you got, Farhan? Hood? Think you're muted, sir.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, heard.
Alrighty.
My trading view is not loading, so I'm going to move closer to Alex and use his hotspot.
Yeah, you get close to him. Really close.
I'm going to get real close. Real close.
Wait a minute.
Wait a second.
Alex is my rebound.
Well,
The
Alex, you
mechanic
got to take one for the team.
Anything for the trades, I guess. Jesus. I shouldn't even make that joke.
All right, let me connect now.
Let's see.
Please make your thing available, sir.
Yeah, it is.
All right, I see it.
Man, so altcoins already fucking gave up? That's crazy.
Yeah, it seems that way. I guess no old season yet. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? CT apparently knows, but again, who knows?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm connected.
We should get Raul Paul on the show to tell us all of his thesis and then just do exactly the opposite. That'll be the easiest way of doing this. Can't see your screen. I'm waiting.
Please load.
Motherfucking internet.
Somebody just closed my door. I don't know who did that. And that's the connection.
It's probably a ghost. Not a big deal. There it is. I see your screen. And there's mine. All right, here we go. Here's the analysis. Continues to go up. Probably is going to go back to the EMA 9. That's a great opportunity to add and continue. That's it. Done. All right, on to the next one. Now. Oh, wow.
Yep. Nothing there. But there's nothing there.
Holy shit.
This internet was supposed to be installed 2 hours ago.
I'm sorry. Where do you
There
live?
you go.
What's the country?
I believe it's Mexico.
Okay, then that's normal. Don't worry about it. Do not stress.
Yeah, that's even what our landlord said. And I'm like, ETA on the repair guys, and they're like, they haven't even contacted us. It's Mexico. I'm not even kidding. That's literally what they said.
No. And listen, I think Mexico has the best service, the best people. Like, they're so warm and funny, and like literally everyone's funny as fuck. But I just can't be there. Everyone's too fucking retarded. I can't deal like that. I can't. It drives me crazy. Crazy. I need efficiency.
Yeah, same.
So I will start with the monthly on Robinhood. Thankfully, I was blessed enough to have enough data to load it. So the monthly on this last monthly close did manage to close over our previous all-time highs on our IPO. Pretty well to see that close over that all-time high. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed to see that because I hate Robinhood since they turned off that buy button on GameStop, made me lose a lot of money. That was the first real loss that I've taken trading, and it hurt me for like 2 weeks knowing that I had lost like $7,000 on GameStop. And I was like, oh, first real, because before that, I had only really made money trading. So I was only used to that. And I bought GameStop twice before, had made money on that, made money on BlackBerry and Bed Bath & Beyond. And this one, I just did not want to take the loss. I just kept holding it, and it was going down and down and down and down and down. Then finally, I sold $7,000 loss. But it is what it is.
You live and you learn, my friend.
That monthly close of our previous all-time highs does signifies that price is now in price discovery. But we are getting very, very extreme on our volatility. We're sitting at 91.6%. Not quite topped out because this thing does like to go to 100% topped out just yet. But you would expect, at the very least, a reconnect with our 5 EMA and some type of pullback after closing over our previous all-time highs, because you are going to get a lot of people that are going to be very bullish after closing over our previous all-time highs and after seeing basically how much of an uninterrupted move to the upside. About 141% uninterrupted move to the upside. Probably not all that crazy to see somewhat of a little bit of a pullback from there. And the target areas I would have for a pullback is going to be somewhere around this 5 EMA, which is right now about $75, towards somewhere between this breakout zone, which lines up with this wick high at around like $65. And both of those are significant pullbacks from our current highs. The 5 EMA is going to be around like 25% down from our current highs, whereas this wick high is going to be around like 34 to 35% from our wick highs. Both are quite extreme. And all of the people who have options in this area are going to get fucked. Even if they end up being right on direction, they're going to still end up getting fucked because that short-term move to the downside is going to destroy their what do you call it, data decay. Momentum on the monthly is freshly positioned to the upside. We are going to be pointed up as long as we are closing the monthly over $82.70. Monthly is now also putting in hidden bullish divergence by breaking these previous these previous momentum lows, but while putting in a higher low on price. But as of right now, from that divergence, we have seen a move up of about that same 141%. No need to measure it again. Let's go to the quarterly, see if we have data for that. Quarterly is also closed over the previous all-time highs, but volatility has started to contract after 2 periods of 100%. Volatility contraction after volatility expansion to the upside usually leads to a downside move, and the quarterly would support more so that target of $65 because the quarterly 5 EMA is right around that area, and it's quite a drop from this area. So the more probabilistic trade in this zone would be a short, and your stop loss would be these current wick highs. So your risk is about like 8 to 9% against you versus your first target of around that 25% down is 25%. I don't even know why I'm bothering to. That's retarded. 25% down. We already measured it. So your first target is 25% down. Your second target is 35% down. Your risk is 8%. That is 3 to 1 odds. Pretty fucking amazing for a stock. 2 week is currently positioned to the upside. Volatility is getting a little high. This is the area where it does usually like to top out right in that 80% zone. This is where it topped out right over here, where it topped out right over here. And momentum is currently putting in possible bearish divergence with a lower high on momentum and a higher high in price. This is going to be a little bit difficult to confirm this divergence. However, you're going to have to close below $74.39, and the confirmation of that divergence will give you that target of $65. That is quite the short. Is Robinhood on BTCC?
Let me see. You do your thing, and I'll tell you in a second.
Weekly is starting to contract on volatility after going to a double extreme, and momentum is now starting to flip to the downside. It is already flipped down. And does weekly have bearish divergence? I need to zoom in a little bit to see if this is a lower high or not. I can't tell.
No hood on BTCC, sadly.
It's unfortunate. No, it's never so slightly higher high. Fuck, so there's no bearish divergence. I think it's more bullish long term to see that the momentum is down, there's no bearish divergence, and volatility is contracting. That would give us the similar targets of around that first $75 area and then $65. This is a brain dead short. I guess you can't short it on perpetuals, but you can buy puts. Harder to put a stop loss.
Well, harder to do everything.
Yeah. 5 days also contracting on volatility with momentum flipped to the downside. Both are going to be flipped down as long as you're essentially below $99. But basically that $100 psychological level. 2 days also looking very, very toppy. Once you lose this 2-day wick low of around $81, that's probably when you're going to dump. Not exactly $81. It is about 18. Why did I say 81? It is $89.70. My bad. And 2-day volatility it's also getting very, very extreme, right around the areas where it likes to top out. Momentum is currently pointed to the downside as long as it's closing below $98.60. Daily is also very, very toppy. You've already lost these wick lows. We're just waiting to lose this wick low of $89.70 before the real dump starts. Volatility is kind of high, not quite topped out just yet. You can continue to see a move to the downside before more of a dump before volatility starts contracting. Come on. Sometime today we'll see our momentum.
At some point.
There we go. Daily is also pointed down. And we're going to be pointing down as long as we're closing below $97.60. $4 is not starting to that volatility contraction. Yeah, where's our momentum? I'm guessing it's going to be pointed to the downside. Yep. And we are freshly losing the critical zone. Last time we lost the critical zone, we got a test of the 21 EMA. We are going to be pointed. The 21 EMA right now sits at about $87. And we're going to be pointed down. Where's the pivot? As long as we are closing below $97.19. Now we will switch. Hopefully it'll work. Switch to the RSI. If it doesn't work, then I'll just have to wrap up the idea with, oh no, it worked. Beautiful. Robin the Hood. Nope. Higher high. Two-week bearish divergence on the RSI as well. You got to close below about $74.39 to confirm. So even if we do go to that $75 target, it's still possible to not confirm that divergence. But confirming that divergence is what gives you the move to about $65. Does it line up with any of our? No, it doesn't. The only RSI target we have is around that 75 zone. The edge of the bullish control zone around $72. So that one's pretty much a given of around $72 to $75. And even that is 25% of it down from here. Brain dead short. Weekly currently has many drives of hidden bullish divergence, which are going to be active as long as you're closing above, you would have to use this one, about $68.56. Even testing $65 still wouldn't really invalidate these divergences. You have about the edge of the bullish control zone sits at about $60. So you would still be in the bullish control zone even if you come down to $60. That's pretty crazy. And then you would just put in hidden bullish divergence after that move down and test $60. I guess it's a profitable business model to rob poor people.
Well, yeah. That's what's going on everywhere.
There's a wonderful United States setup right here too.
You can
There's
argue that already played out.
Yeah, that's true.
Measure that.
There's California, there's Texas, there's Florida. And you're already in the critical zone, so it's pretty arguable that it's already played out. And that supports the idea of that pullback from here. Perfectly tapped that $100 area, $100 target, and then we can commence the pullback. Come on. Can you guys still hear me? Am I still in?
Yeah.
Yeah, can hear you.
I guess my trading view is just crapping out.
Yeah, Bitcoin's getting volatile. Usually gets laggy on
The upside
trading
or
view.
downside?
Downside. Oh, both really. Fucky. Darth Maul.
Well, yeah, he kind of like faked out that he was going to fucking go nuke and he didn't. Like on this candle, on these 15-minute.
Yeah. Can't
Oh
even
wow,
do
I
it.
just received a $150 bonus from Bluffin. That's cool. Thanks.
Why are you getting these bonuses? Where are my bonuses? Bluffing,
Yeah,
hello. I want a
one.
bonus. So I can pay for my hookah addictions.
Yeah, well, that's nice, you know? Little
Sometime
weed fund
today
as
we
well.
will
Yeah.
get this working. Sometime today.
The tariffs are back. Japan's getting tariffed. You're getting tariffed. His mom's getting tariffed. Everyone's getting tariffed. Price is not going up. Something's happening. If I hear more people talk about this, I will kill myself.
Yeah.
All right. You guys heard that. It was
literally.
not Epstein. It was not that. It was me because I heard
It was
people talking about
intentional.
tariffs.
Same though. That's all everyone just talks about on CT news headlines.
Can I say how stupid people are? What? So you think the only thing the government is working on is on tariffs? Because you gotta think so, because that's the only thing they're talking to you about, right? Like nothing else. The government is at a standstill, and the only thing they're telling you is about tariffs because that's the only thing they're focused on. God damn it, dude. We deserve everything because we're so fucking retarded.
100%.
I just put that $150 bonus that they gave me into 120x long.
Well done.
Attaboy.
For the culture.
Exactly.
If you notice on the daily, yeah, very much a degenerate, just like you fellas.
Mm-hmm.
$150 is a free $150 to gamble. So on the daily, we are breaking these lows on momentum, while price is making significantly higher lows, giving you possible hidden bullish divergence on the other end. A little bit unlikely to confirm that divergence because people have to close over our current all-time highs to confirm it, and you have to close over $100.88. And your next target is going to be the critical zone, which is not really that much higher. It's only $103.55, although you probably go higher from there. Let's see if you can get target. If we assume this is going to be our low, we have to zoom in a little bit. Assume this is going to be our low. We would need to get 3 closes over $98.90, and then we can. Oh, it's not even that much higher, $106, which is a little bit higher than this 103. And the next level is 116 after 106. 4 hours not giving you that God mode sell signal on the jewel. Pink crossing below yellow. Oh my God, this is the most brain dead short I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna switch to quarterly.
By the way, I measured that United States pattern move. It's identical to where it topped. It's crazy. Although that's the big one.
Basically, everything is pointing towards the top being in. So on the high time frames, the United States pattern is played out. We've got various divergences forming. It is looking like the most brain dead short I've ever seen in my life. You have an 8% risk to the upside against you versus at the very least 25% in your favor, and then a 35% move in your favor. Significantly risk to reward. It's 8% risk to 25% minimum. That's more than 3 to 1. And on all of your low time frames, your momentum is now switching down. On all of the high time frames, it is going to remain to the upside. Even if you come down to $60, you're still going to be in the bullish control zone. And if you were to come down to that $60 zone, that you would close your shorts, open up fresh longs in that area, play it amazingly to both sides. And the invalidation on this idea is simply just getting over our all-time highs. If you can get over our all-time highs, we're not going to get that pullback, and we're likely just going to continue up to the upside somewhere around 106 and then 116. Very likely that doesn't happen though. Because of our momentum shifting down, and very likely we are going to get that pullback from here towards somewhere around first. A goal is tapping the monthly 5 EMA at about $75. And then the second one, if we lose that area, we will confirm another bearish divergence, and that'll take us towards the quarterly 5 EMA at around $65.
Oh,
Still looking
makes
quite
sense.
bullish in the macro though.
Yeah, so in a really gay way, it looks like this is what's going to happen. This is your breakout zone. You're coming back, retesting breakout zone, and then going higher,
It's
right?
really gay how my screen is black.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it's if you put it on the daily, it's basically the area of the 66 where you topped before, locally on February. I would put a meme line right there, a horizontal one, and then prices above that, it would come down and then go back up. Crazy. All right. Thank you, senor. I'll get going right now with this. 1 second, actually. There you go. And you know what? I'm feeling nice. I'll fucking even throw this one in there for everyone. I'm doing this for you, boys. All right. Vamos a empezar con Robinhood. El que le roba a los ricos para darle a los pobres, sí, cómo no. Este es el famoso patrón de tasa y agarradera, y lo que tiene cara es que nuestra agarradera va a empezar a crearse. Ahora, esto normalmente ocurre con una consolidación bastante potente, ¿ok? Y cuando normalmente tenemos este tipo de patrones, que es el de la tasa y agarradera, todavía falta la agarradera. Pueden ver que tenemos la tasa y ahora tenemos que formar la agarradera. La agarradera y la consolidación que me gusta para la agarradera es esta. Ese estilo de consolidación, que es la que siempre les digo, cuando normalmente algo, y no juega todo el tiempo así, le da 70% más de probabilidades para arriba cuando consolida así, que en vez consolidar, digamos, así, 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 eso normalmente te está engañando y eso es normalmente más bajista que alcista. Por ahora tenemos un doji en esta vela y tenemos esta gran vela potente que habíamos visto antes, donde nos agarramos del promedio del 9, que fue la oportunidad de oro justamente acá en abril por comprar HUD en 30, y ahorita tendrías un 3X en tu dinero. Nada mal, honestamente, nada mal. Pocos datos, no les voy a poner el HPDR. Vámonos a la mensual. Mensual, lo mismo, estamos diciendo. Justamente la oportunidad se dio en el 21 en la mensual, grande, aunque en realidad el 34 fue la más grande de todas, justamente aquí abajo en los 16. Ahora, cuando estamos viendo esto de esta forma, estás viendo un patrón. Bueno, podrías también argumentar que en la mensual esta fue consolidación y este fue el movimiento a la alza, pero no puedes porque este movimiento ya se pagó con esto. Ok. Y a lo que voy con eso es, esta misma tasa tiene como progresiones, ¿no? Y si lo pongo acá y mido hasta acá, que es la zona donde antes el precio había estado peleando y después rompe a la alza, justamente ese movimiento ya lo dio. Ahora este movimiento va a ser para esto entero, para el de los 85 hacia arriba. Y para ello vamos a tener que ver un poco de consolidación. Pueden ver que está en extremos nuestra volatilidad, lo que nos empieza a decir que probablemente estemos ante un tope por acá local, una vez más para ir, consolidar más o menos por acá, algo así, y bolas después a la alza. 2 semanas también, una vez más, volatilidad en extremo, está apuntando para arriba, pero a punto de tocar extremos. Ahora, a esta madre le gusta estar en extremos, así que no podemos negarlo. La volatilidad a vencer son los 22.75, que antes fue el punto donde se dobló a la alza. Y nuestro tope fue los $100, tal cual prometidos, esos números redondos. Ahí los tienen. Ahora, este patrón también como de mini tasa, etcétera, si lo vemos en la diaria, ya también jugó. Lo medimos del punto más bajo a este punto y de ahí lo llevamos para acá, donde rompió. Esto ya jugó. Lo pueden ver acá. Ya se jugó. Ok. Con eso dicho y hecho, estamos haciendo este alto, un bajo más alto, un nuevo alto más alto. ¿Y qué continúa después de eso? Después de un alto, un bajo, un alto más alto, un bajo más alto, y nosotros estamos esperando que simplemente venga a hacerlo acá. ¿Por qué? Porque hay bastante confluencia con esto. Ustedes saben que me encanta poner a mí mis órdenes en donde veo que el precio encontró una resistencia importante, la volvió a encontrar acá, la encontró acá, pero sí pudo romper a la alza y no ha venido a retestear esta zona. Esas zonas de retesteo son las importantes para mí y también el promedio del 9 que no lo tocamos desde abril de 2025 fue la zona que nos llevó a la alza. Cuando junto que es el promedio del 9 y también esta zona y veo mi línea meme ahí y el promedio del 9 ahí, me da una más alta probabilidad de pensar de que más o menos por esta zona en los 66 es donde el precio va a encontrar dónde rebotar. Semanal ya volatilidad en súper extremos, lo pueden ver acá, ya está contrayendo y eso nos dice que estamos ante una corrección muy probablemente. Esta corrección, de nuevo, la esperaríamos hasta a la zona de los 66, entre 55 y 66. No, también no crean que esta línea es para ser respetada como tu mamá, ¿no? O sea, podría bajar acá tantito y hacer esto. Ok. Diaria, también estamos a punto de darnos la vuelta, lo pueden ver por acá en volatilidad y eso quiere decir que probablemente hayamos topado localmente. Tenemos esta vela de indecisión, una vela que no es topera, una vela que te engaña, que te dice que va más para arriba y una vela de indecisión. Primer objetivo claramente van a ser los 89 para esta consolidación, segundo van a ser los 85, tercero los 76 y cuarto nuestro EMA 100 después de un rato que probablemente entre los 70 entre los 60 y los 66 llegue a pararse por ahí. Ahora, la manera más fácil de ver esto es la de 2 semanas, en mi opinión. Es justamente la que nos enseña este patrón, la ruptura del mismo, etcétera, junto con la confluencia del 9 rompiendo a la alza y también estando justamente donde la línea meme para la corrección. Creemos que tienes una probabilidad más grande de caer en estos momentos hasta casi un 30% en vez de continuar a la alza por ahora. Y estamos mal si te llevas los máximos de esta vela en los 188. Si te llevas los 188 a la alza, olvídalo, estamos mal y simplemente va a continuar a la alza. Esto es alcista a tendencia a largo plazo, mediana. Corto plazo se ve correctiva. ¿Ok? Listo. All right, Alex, what do you got, son?
CHE. Let me see here.
Che.
Med Corp. Chi Med Corp.
Damn, this shit's gonna fucking nuke very soon. Look at the 2-week. Just start there.
Yeah. Let's see if I can start.
I know. I just saw.
Because when I saw this, yeah, it has a major gap. Looks like it's breaking down. It's like, geez. Come on. Yeah, look at this. And the nice part about this chart is it has a lot of data as well. So,
Yeah.
This is far from like a shit coin, like a simple trend line from 2018 just been holding beautifully with the weekly SMA 200. Here you've capitulated. You've now weekly silver crossed. Let me double check that. Yeah, right here you're in a weekly silver cross, and now you're in a weekly trend shift. As long as you're under the weekly SMA 200, this is in bear territory. Bears are in full control, and you actually can see that you haven't lost this weekly SMA 200. Let's see if this wants to load. Really, you haven't been under it since you reclaimed it here back in 2009. You see you did lose it briefly. 2008, of course, big crash, support held. You just ranged within the SMA 200 on the weekly. And then meanline support at $33.33. Really wasn't until you reclaimed it where you held that as very strong support before moving up. So now as long as you're under it, this should be looked at as very strong resistance. You briefly lost it here. So, bulls are going to try to reclaim this. They want to see this hold as support. And then really theory getting back above that SMA 200 on the weekly then could really get you to at least test the $550 region again. That would just be another, again, weekly EMA 21 retest, which is part of the silver cross. You want to see the EMA 9 reject, which is lined up nicely with the SMA 200. If that doesn't hold, then we'll gauge the 21, which is lined up pretty nicely with meme line resistance, the trend line, and then even right around the EMA 100 on the weekly. You also see, obviously, there's a major gap. Now, this doesn't need to immediately get filled. And I'm sure a lot of people wanted that to get filled for the easy trade, bearish retest. Let's go in, fill that long up. But what you notice on this chart is it is in breakdown mode. And you're just in a major range now. If you go back and really view this, I mean, this range, which is support, is at $236. Resistance is at 400 and like $500 essentially. That's a major range. That's very big. Last time we were in this range, I mean, was here, and it did essentially just move up to the next spot. So in theory, on the flip side, this should just start moving down to that $269 region. If you go to the monthly now, this kind of solidifies the range, which is, okay, if you lose this EMA 100, yeah, you're going to drop down to the monthly SMA 200 with volatility contracted and giving you a monthly setup firing off now after the contraction phase. Yeah, this definitely has the ability to dump all the way down to the $269 region. That would be a pretty big dump from this zone too.
It's never lost that EMA 100 on the monthly, by the way.
Yeah, let's check that out.
Kind of played with the idea, but not really. Since 2008, kind of seems like nope.
Even around that, when you had that dump, you lost it here, and then again, just SFP. Once you reclaimed it, that just held as support. SFPs, I mean, this can just be a bullish reclaim. What was, loss? This can look at as like a trap. Bulls, horny bears essentially are shorting here, wanting the breakdown until it gets reclaimed, held, and then you expand on the third candle. And yeah, this is, you can really see that after you reclaimed, it just simply held. So the fact that we're now coming down, this does have, this is the next objective, which is the EMA 100. That is sitting right around the $443 region. This should give some reaction. That's very strong. You very well could even retest the trend line, which could look something like you retest. You go in and finally hit the monthly EMA 100 after years. Most likely get some kind of reaction. That could easily take you back to that $555, which again we could just look at, we can view that as a weekly silver cross retest. Because the weekly isn't a silver cross. And even if, let's say that we could very well easily fill this gap, wick above the SMA 200 and just come in and retest this real quick. Because if you actually view this, I mean, this region is solid resistance. And you actually haven't tested the EMA 21 since you lost it here. This did not test it. And then from that point, you just haven't tested it. So in theory, if you did end up squeezing back up to this region, everything's kind of telling you it's just a bearish retest. Let's see the HBDR. Oh, look at that. Even this tells you it's a bearish retest. So good confluence of that. I do think if you end up squeezing that you should be gauging the extremity short around the 550, like 554 to 555 region. That could make for an easy short trade. Yikes. Even the quarterly lost that breakdown. You lost $490, which was support. Now it's resistance. Next target's right around that $440 mark, right around the EMA 34. If you don't hold that though, which is interesting to see that it lines up nicely with our monthly view. If you don't hold this on the quarterly, which is right around that monthly EMA 100, yeah, again, big drop down to that 260, right around the EMA 100. And that's how my system works. If you lose the 34, you often do. It's just a magnet. Price does like to just gravitate towards there. And you can even notice on the quarterly, right? If you did bounce, I mean, you have the quarterly EMA 9, which got reclaimed, lost. And if you look at this, you had a lot of chop around there. It would get lost, you'd reclaim it, you lose it, reclaim it, you lost it. So in theory, if you ended up coming back up, this could be looked at as a trap. Complacent traders are just expecting the bounce. We do get it. This just leads to the bearish retest. Then you break down. And you finally get the follow through. 1, 2, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quarterly candles of chop. It's insane. All right around that quarterly 9. You even see the median has shifted up. Bottom of 38.2% now right around that breakdown zone. You just look at it like that, which is like this. For me, I don't think that this chart will see $600 again. I do think, though, it can go up to $550. And there you can take a short. That actually is a pretty nice short if we get that. But as you see here, if you end up getting follow through, which you're already getting on this quarterly, I mean, this bounce up to the $550 is just hopium for shorts. There's actually nothing telling me that this isn't going to really stop here before we hit the EMA 100 on the monthly and the quarterly EMA 34. It's just going to be a magnet, as I shown here on the monthly. There's really nothing stopping it from actually hitting that. Let's actually measure too how far it is from there, because it looks not that much, but let's see. So yeah, like 4.82%. So there, until we actually hit this region around the $440, you actually really, probably aren't going to see a bigger bounce until then. And that's why it just ties in nicely with my monthly view. Easily can come down and then get the bigger bounce. This can make for an easy short. You're just gauging the May's high essentially as your stop. So yeah, that's all I have on CHE. I can look at the 12-hour real quick. So you're at actually 100% on volatility. So, mean reversion bounce would make sense. You're kind of gauging this 12-hour loss of support here to get tested. The 12-hour EMA 9 should shift down more. So if you ended up getting a bounce, I'd be watching for around that 490. I think that if we end up reclaiming 490, it's going to open up like 520. And then at that point, yeah, maybe we do end up getting that bigger bounce to the 550. But first, it's going to really start on the 12-hour, reclaiming back above the 9 and getting back above the $490 region. And that could actually give volatility a nice reset because, this is at literally 100% and on multiple sessions. So, I mean, if you are a short, you really nice catching this, but I mean, you at best just kind of want like consolidation here. And then this can just reset. So yeah, that's all I really have on this chart. Pretty insane though. It's breaking down from like a multi-year trend line. I don't know why. I don't know what happened, but yeah, and I guess they do nursing management. So
health services, because everyone's gonna die now. Maybe. Who knows? No idea, but yeah, like you're saying, it says health services, hospital, nursing management. No clue. But
yeah, I have no idea. Yeah,
it's been on an incredible uptrend forever, basically. Like you could argue since 2008.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, very odd. I mean, this chart has a lot of data, so it's very odd to see it breaking down like this. I do think if you are like, trying to buy this, watch the monthly EMA 100 for like a trade. Because as long as you're under that weekly SMA 200, it's just not going to be fun. And then really $555 is kind of like the big short opportunity if you get it.
Yeah. Coinbase is next, Mr. Farhano. All right. Yeah. I'm going to add you and close it. Yeah. You're going to what?
I was gonna say to Alex that I'm not adding.
Wait,
what?
You muted yourself
I was,
after you said that.
yeah, I was gonna say to Alex that I'm not added, but then I got added.
Oh,
okay.
got it. Ok, estamos viendo Che Guevara, tío. Ha estado una tendencia alcista a través de los años. Esta es una tabla mensual, literalmente desde el 2008. Podemos argumentar que esto es muy potentemente a la alza. Ahora, viéndolo así, quiero recalcar una zona bastante importante, este nivel de los 400. Ahorita van a ver por qué. Y siguiente nivel importante para mí podría ser este. ¿Ok? Con eso dicho, déjeme rápido, no había visto esta en la de 6 meses. Ok. Vean lo alcista que hace esta cosa. Y es como servicios de, ¿cómo se llama? Servicios médicos, básicamente. Lo que pueden ver acá es que estamos por debajo preparando un setup de volatilidad en la de 6 meses, cabrones, del punto más bajo de toda la historia. Viene el movimiento más agresivo que ha visto esta tabla en toda su vida. Ahora, la de 3 meses tuvo volatilidad, tuvo expansión de volatilidad, después contrajo y después volvió a expandir. Me veo dónde. Acá, y está expandiendo un poco de lado, pero para abajo. Interesante. Puede que esta expansión continúe a la baja de forma importante en esta tabla. Ahora, tengo la de 3 meses con un chingo de datos. Antes de hacer esto, déjenme, básicamente les hago el run-through oficial de todo. Pueden ver que altos, altos más 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 altos. Y acá ya no hicimos altos más altos. Acá fue donde hicimos el primer alto más bajo y el primer bajo más bajo en un rato. O sea, estás hablando desde el 2018 que había tenido este alto y no pudo continuar. Ya platicamos de volatilidad expandiendo, pero de forma chueca. Vamos a ver por acá. Pueden ver que nos rechazó la media. Siempre estamos arriba de la zona azul o en la zona azul y ahora caemos de la zona azul. ¿Cuántos ejemplos tenemos de esta madre estando abajo de la zona azul? Literalmente esto fue un cierre y después lo retomó. ¿Será esto? Literalmente esto es algo que no veíamos desde el 2008. Y ahora, esto me llama la atención. Porque el mercado en el 2008 no hizo fondo. El mercado hizo fondo en marzo del 2009. Que es más o menos por acá. El fondo de ese movimiento fue acá, en los 29. Y también topó mucho antes que el mercado tradicional. ¿Por qué? ¿Dónde está el 2020? Denme un segundo. Este es el 2020. La corrección, para que tengan una idea, la corrección del 2020 pero bueno, podría ser. Fue 35%, 35%. ¿Qué me dices del 2022? Nada, o sea, 2022, octubre, enero, 19%. Y de acá, de este tope, llevamos ya un 29%. Está cerca de los extremos. Me huele que el extremo más grande va a estar por acá. Yo creo que esto sería un regalo. O sea, hablando del 50% que coincide con el 97%, sería un mega regalo y no. Se me hace difícil. A ver cuánto corrigió en el 2009. Perdón, esto es bastante interesante. Acá está 2007. Si es 50%, me voy a patear las bolas. ¡Ah! Dios. 58%. Esa fue la corrección más grande que tuvo. 58%. ¿Y cuánto dijimos que llevamos? Ya 30%. Ya estamos en territorio de las correcciones más grandes de toda la historia de esta tabla, por cierto. Wow. Ok. Esto quiere decir que si nos tiene que aguantar el 34 en los 441. De no aguantar, vamos a visitar los 388 y el peor escenario 320, que de nuevo no sería el peor, sería un regalo. Volatilidad mensual está expandiendo ante esta caída. Lo pueden ver acá justamente. Y apenas está en 40% después de haber tenido no se distraigan por el ruido de acá. Todo esto, tíos. ¿Cuándo empezó este setup? En el 2021. Ok. Y ahora tenemos nuestro promedio del 100 justamente acá, donde está nuestra primera, donde estaba el 34 trimestral, ante el 78.6%. Y nuestra otra línea meme, por ahí entre el 95 y el 97%. Hicimos este alto, este bajo, un alto más bajo, un bajo más bajo, un alto más bajo todavía relativo a este, y ahora está haciendo un bajo más alto. ¡Wow! Un bajo más bajo. 2 semanas también está empujando con fuerza volatilidad a la alza y le gusta llegar a extremos, así que apenas está en 85%, puede llegar al 32% sin pedos. Ya estamos debajo del S&P 200, es otra cosa que había notado yo, y ya buscando este 95% en los 442. Yo creo que los 442 son inminentes, ¿no? No hay forma de no tocarlos. Lo que yo quiero ver es esto. La última vez que tocamos el S&P 200 fue en el 2008. Now, if this is related by any chance to the market, because it bottomed before the market bottomed and it went out, like it broke out before the market broke out, and the biggest correction it's ever had was 2008. And it was, let's say 60% correction from the top. What the fuck does this mean? Sí, o sea, literalmente es la corrección más grande de toda la historia en esta tabla. Un segundo. Sí, eso es 22%. Espérenme, no puede ser. Sí, 35. A ver, de acá. 30. Esta zona de los 442 sería 32. La corrección más grande es de 60% en la pandemia. Digo, en el 2008, hasta acá. Esta línea verde sería la corrección más grande, o sea, copiada de antes. ¿Por qué? Esto es muy significante, tíos, que no haya tocado esto en 15, 16, 17 años, el S&P 200 en la de 2 semanas. A nadie más se le hace una payasada. Y ahora vas a tener un cruce plateado, ya lo tienes. El 55 ya está por encima del 21. Eso quiere decir que probablemente ya lo tienes. Tienes el cruce plateado aquí a la baja. ¿Y eso qué quiere decir? Que vas a tener un rebote muy probablemente a esta zona, hacer el retesteo bajista y dar continuación. Si no estás, ahora sí que no creo que estés fondeando por acá, porque apenas está empezando lo feo. ¡Wow! ¡Qué locura! Ok, 2 semanas, voy a poner el HPDR para verlo ahí. Tal cual, vas a necesitar consolidación por acá o un rebote, consolidar aquí abajo y que todos estos niveles bajen. Vas a necesitar tiempo definitivamente, lo que habla también, al estar al 95% acá, de un rebote. Como mínimo a los 525, pero como debería de a los 550. hasta la zona de los 570. Semanal, 95% todavía agregando más confluencia a mi idea. Cruce plateado, por supuesto que acá nuestro promedio del 9 en la semanal está en los 542, regresando a esta zona igual. ¿Ok? Volatilidad en la semanal está ya en extremos, pero puede pintar extremos por un rato ante esta caída. Y eso es lo que nos dice esto. Esta volatilidad está en extremos también después de un setup de nula volatilidad en la diaria y ya estás cayendo al casi 100%. Tienes un gap aquí arriba que va a funcionar como anzuelo. ¡Wow! Esta madre está bastante fácil, honestamente. No requiere ser cirujano de nada en este pedo. ¡Wow! ¡Qué caída de esta cosa! Yo lo pondría a mi vista 2 semanas. Es la manera más fácil de ver esto. En 2 semanas, yo esperaría, en la tabla de 2 semanas, hay varios escenarios. Uno, un poco de consolidación acá y después reventar aquí arriba. 2, un súper rebote aquí y después caer. O 3, rebote, retomar esta línea e irte para arriba porque normalmente 30% es toda la corrección que típicamente se da en esta tabla, la más alta, a menos de que haya sido el 2008. Que una vez más, o sea, si esto tuviera una relación directa con el mercado, con la bolsa, ¿no? Y me digas que todo funciona igual, etcétera, y es una correlación, esto te está dando toda la cara de lo que pasó en el 2020, 2008, sobre todo el 2008. Wow, impresionante. All righty, sir, we're ready for some Coinbase. Some base of the coins. Let me bring you in. There you are. There we are. Put your fin. La, la, la. 1 second. Let it populate. There. There. Did I fucking delete Coinbase to put this in? I did. I'm a fucking idiot. Wait.
Dollars.
You disappeared and then you're back. So we didn't hear
So I was
anything.
saying I switched my high leverage long into a high leverage short on Bitcoin. My stop loss is 108,775. And if you switch to the 8-hour, you can see a cheeky little head and shoulders, which measures out to about $104,500. And that is my TP on my short.
Damn.
And it could take us anywhere between 104 to 102s, and that is the area where I will be switching into max longing again. But on Coinbase right now, on the month, sir, on this last monthly candle, we did get a pretty nice close. We closed at about $350. These wick highs are about 349 and 341, giving us a close over these previous rejective wick highs, giving us a confirmed uptrend. And usually when we get a higher high, you get somewhat of a move to the downside. From this candle, we haven't really gotten much of a move to the downside at all. We saw 1.76% down, and on this candle close, monthly momentum freshly flipped to the upside, rejecting the bearish control zone, and volatility went into an expansion phase. So the last time we had monthly momentum freshly flipped to the upside with volatility going into an expansion phase was right about this zone here. And price went uninterrupted to the upside of about 140%. As of right now, I'm not looking for anywhere near 140% move. I'm just looking for another test of these all-time highs right now, which is about $430 from where we are right now. That is roughly a 20% move, nowhere near 140%. And just for curiosity's sake, let me take it from this wick high and this wick low. Now that we have confirmed these are lower highs and lows, confirmed local bottom. That gives us with 3 closes over about $305.50. A target slightly higher than our current all-time highs, which is about $477. How much higher is that from here we are now? All-time highs is about 20%, and this is about 33%. Pretty pretty good. Week is also flipped up on momentum with volatility expanding, not anywhere near being topped out, only at 73%. Tells you can still continue to go up to get a little bit higher to tap those current all-time highs, and momentum is going to be pointed up as long as you're closing over $212. Come on. Weekly is also positioned to the upside with volatility expansion, and you are going to be positioned to the upside as long as you're closing over $337 and let's say $337. But you are going to be getting more of an extended pullback if you start to lose these wick lows of around $334. Get a weekly close below that level. Actually, if you even were to tick below this level, that's when you're probably going to get a pullback to test somewhere around your 9 EMA, about like the round psychological figure of $300. Come on. Five days also getting volatility expansion all the way destroying the curve over, close to getting into a contraction phase, but still over the moving average. Wait for the momentum to show up. Momentum is still positioned to the upside as long as you're closing over $343. 2 days getting a nice bottoming candle, but we have not confirmed this as a local bottom just yet. You would have to close over about $357.16 to confirm this as a local bottom. And momentum is currently pointed to the upside and with volatility expansion, and you will be pointed up as long as you're closing over $365.50. And you have rejected getting out of the bullish control zone and put in hidden bullish divergence. More probabilities of hitting that $400-ish area. Come on. Yeah, these already started contracting on volatility from double extreme. Double extreme did play out to the downside, the upside, so the mean reversion would be to the downside. Come on. So I just need to see the momentum, and if it would do me the honor of appearing. Oh no, I see nothing.
Oh, below.
Come on. There we go. Daily momentum is starting to flip down, going along with that mean reversion to the downside. And we are going to be flipped down as long as we're closing below $362.50. Short-term downside goes along with that short-term downside idea on Bitcoin as well. Four hours also contracting on volatility, very, very close to being fully reset now, until sitting at 33% from many periods of 100%. Come on. Come on. Okay, this is taking unreasonably long. I should refresh. Wow, just
There
when
it
I hit
is.
refresh is when it appeared. Literally when I hit
Oh.
refresh the second it appeared.
Oh no.
This thing is fucking with me.
A trader's worst nightmare. No Wi-Fi.
Are you fucking serious?
Come
Alright, so
on.
I guess I just wrap up the idea.
Yeah.
So on all of the high time frames, Coinbase is looking very bullish, and I am expecting a move to eventually tap our current all-time highs. But on the short-term time frame, momentum is starting to shift down. So I do think we are going to hit that round psychological figure of somewhere around $300, and I do think we are going to bounce from that $300 figure to hit somewhere around $429 to $430. Probably get a little bit of consolidation around that area and then tap somewhere slightly higher towards around $460 to $470. And from there, it likely is a consolidation and pullback. And validation on this is getting either a tick below about, come on, don't do this to me.
A tick would be
All right,
140, no? Or are you going
getting a
with
tick below about
237?
142, or
Yeah.
getting a weekly close below 235. Either one
There
of
you
those
go.
two things happens, and this thing is going to break down. Although I don't think that's going to happen. I do think eventually we're going to hit our all-time highs on this after a short-term
All right.
pullback.
Perfecto. I know we have like 20 more minutes, but it's impossible with your internet, sir. So I'll just continue here, and you guys can go and yell at people to bring you internet.
Yeah. Next
You
stream
know,
we'll
it's
have
Monday.
So yeah, it is Monday.
The
So
scope of
hopefully they'll
mission,
send-
you're
There you go. No, all righty, boys. Enjoy your motherfucking day, and good luck with that.
Thank you, boys. Yeah, see you on the
Buenas
Discord.
tardes and hasta luego.
Thank you. Hasta luego. Vale, vamos a dejarla con Coinbase hoy, que el internet acá se acaban de cambiar de casa y no el landlord gran coreano no les pone puto internet de mierda, pero espero que lo haga pronto. Si no, el tío Salo tendrá que aparecerse por ahí. Ok, en fin, estamos viendo Coinbase en la mensual, por supuesto, aquí lo tienen. Tenemos muy pocos datos porque Coinbase salió al mercado en el 2021, pero tenemos esta gran expansión de volatilidad ante este subidongo del punto más bajo. Sabemos que eso nos da más probabilidades de dar continuación al movimiento que estamos viviendo en este momento. Con eso dicho, les pongo el HPDR en la mensual y pueden ver que no estamos en ningún extremo aquí arriba. Estamos justamente pasando la zona del 50% y nuestro siguiente objetivo natural debería ser los 442, tal cual. Vamos a la de 2 semanas. 2 semanas, estamos ya en extremos y esto nos va a sugerir justamente lo que nosotros pensamos, pero volatilidad continúa expandiendo también. Ahora el 100% está en los 430, lo que me sigue y da más confluencia que vamos a llegar a los 430. También tenemos volatilidad expandiendo en la semanal, pero es un poco más mamona porque tiene como diferentes puntos y empujes, pero lo está haciendo nada más ni nada menos ante este subidongo. Este subidongo en la semanal todavía nos deja bastante caminito, estamos apenas en 61.8%, pero eso nos dice que podríamos tener un movimiento correctivo, de acuerdo a lo que estábamos viendo en la de 2 semanas, hasta la parte alta de la zona azul, que coincide con nuestro promedio del 9, y de ahí poder reventar a buscar estos máximos históricos de la tabla de Coinbase. Vamos a la diaria. Diaria volatilidad había tenido este extremo, después de este extremo está contrayendo en lo que estás viendo esto, lo que nos da todavía un poco más de salsa a los tacos para poder decir que tal vez vayamos a la zona de los 300, pero por ahora aguantando arriba de los 353 deberíamos de tener más probabilidades de venir a buscar primero los 376, hacer un alto más bajo ahí si es que no lo hemos hecho ya. Con esto, ¿no? Lo pueden ver ahí básicamente, si pongo una línea de tendencia. Acá, si puedes romper esto, vas a venir a los 370 y ahí tendrás más probabilidades de venir a los 397 y tener continuación sobre el mismo movimiento. Pero por ahora, yo diría, si no estás en Coinbase o ya tienes posiciones en Coinbase, ¿dónde agregarías? Sencillo. En realidad es bastante sencillo, tío. Acá. Pueden ver que esta zona es una zona muy importante para poder romper. Nos había hecho un S&P antes, nos había rechazado y nos hizo caer hasta acá. Esta zona de los $300 es donde probablemente veas a Coinbase darte un movimiento hasta acá y de ahí rebotar. ¿Dónde está mal la idea? La idea está mal si llega a cualquier tipo de flechazo, velazo, como le quieras decir, por debajo de esto en los 142. Si llegas por ahí abajo, olvídalo, estamos mal. Y también la otra es si tienes un cierre semanal por debajo de esta zona en los 266. Si cierras por acá semanalmente, diría olvídalo, no va a continuar subiendo y esto fue literalmente el tope local. Vamos a buscar un nuevo mínimo, pero por ahora lo está haciendo, sobre todo con la estructura que tiene. Y lo pueden ver todos. Es una estructura muy alcista y vamos a tener este movimiento, por supuesto, que va a acabar en los 657 y de ahí va a poder continuar para a la alza. Pero por ahora no nos sorprendería ver a Coinbase, han visto que está en esta tendencia alcista y continúa en esta tendencia alcista, venir, corregir simplemente aquí, usarlo como soporte, transformar los 300 en soporte y catapultarse a los 430. Una vez que te lleves los 430, mi siguiente objetivo, y sé que suena muy mamón, son 657. ¿Los va a dar instantáneamente? No sé, vamos paso a paso. Pero Coinbase se ve bastante chida, honestamente. Aunque una corrección no le hace daño a nada, no le hace daño a nadie una vez al año. No creo que no dije nada inteligente con eso. Bueno, nunca digo nada inteligente, pero entienden lo que estoy diciendo. Segundo, para ponerme por acá. Y ahí lo tienen. Bastante sencillo, perdón, solamente prendió una de mis luces. No entiendo por qué a veces hace esto, este maldito programa, pero ahí lo tengo. Estamos ante una corrección antes de continuar a altos y también existe el punto de vista, dependiendo de qué tan extremo seas, de que ya vimos los altos históricos en Bitcoin, por ejemplo, y que vamos a caer ahora y que no hemos podido hacer un segundo alto más alto por eso. Así que vamos a estar pendiente con ello. Personalmente, yo creo, esto es personalmente, yo creo que estamos ante un movimiento correctivo, vamos a corregir y de ahí vamos a continuar para arriba. Están tirándonos todos estos deliciosos datos falsos, hypeados, para poder hacernos a todos alcistas y yo voy a ir con lo que me están intentándole vender a las masas porque eso normalmente es lo que funciona, o lo que me ha funcionado hasta ahora. Y con eso los dejo, los voy a ver en un rato. Para nadie me preguntó, vamos a platicar de pendejadas como siempre. Les mando un fuerte abrazo. Cuídense mucho y gracias por todo su tiempo y atención. Pórtense bien, brothers.